Well, good morning to you on BBC Essex and BBC Radio London, online via the BBC Sport website and app. This is Nick Ledhill and Guy Swindles with you at Chelmsford on a cloudy morning, actually surprisingly cool given the forecast, although it's actually going to be reasonably warm this afternoon, 27 degrees, but hotter as the week goes on. But it's a solid cloud cover at the moment and a refreshing light breeze. And we have a double header for you today at 4 o'clock. It's Essex against Middlesex in the men's blast, and right now we have Essex women playing Surrey, who are top of the table, and the news is that Essex have won the toss and chosen to field. One or two of the bigger names in the Essex side are back after playing for England A only yesterday, actual fact. So Essex going in with Grace Scrivens, Annika Bosch, Sophia Smell, Jodie Grucock, Liberty Heap, Jo Gardner, Bryony Gilgrass, Sophie Monroe, Eva Gray, Kate Kopak and Ariana Dowse. And Surrey, top of the table, looking to consolidate their position in this game. Bryony Smith, Kira Chatley, Laura Harris, Jemima Spence, Alice Davidson Richards, Alice Monaghan, Phoebe Franklin, Kalia Moore, Raina McDonald-Gay, Priyanaz Chatterjee and Danny Gregory. So strong looking Surrey side as ever. And do you remember actually seeing a game at the Oval last year between these two, which was a tie? If Essex can get that today, they've done very well, Guy. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, well, one or two Essex players, even though they lost at the Oval this year, one or two players who had exceptional days. Grace Scrivens' highest score in the competition this season came there. But it's crucial, you feel, for Essex that the big three who've been away with England A are back after 4 successive defeats, and it has been pretty hard for the Essex team in T20s recently. That is a massive plus as far as they're concerned.
So Surrey are going to have first strike, and Bryony Smith is out there with Chatley. Important for Essex. Wouldn't use this cloud cover. Maybe that was the thinking. It might get a bit brighter and sunnier later on. If there's cloud cover around, you might as well use it while it's there. So that would be the thinking. Sophie Monroe is going to open the bowling from the Graham Gooch end, and say it is solid cloud cover. We're not going to see many days like that. This, I think, in July, the way the forecast is going. So it's refreshingly cool at the moment. Let's see if Essex can make some early inroads here, which I think they're going to need to do. Surrey top by a point from Durham and Hampshire. Durham, a bit of a surprise package. The Blaze there in 4th, and then Essex sort of rather further down than that. Somerset 19, Warwickshire and Essex 13. Warwickshire played Essex recently. I thought it was a game that Essex had to win. They didn't. Probably has put an end to their realistic chances of finishing the top 4, but we shall see. So it's going to be Bryony Smith, 228 runs to her name, and this is played away into the onside. First delivery from Monroe, gets a single out towards mid-wicket. So Surrey looking to consolidate. We've got basically that top 4 has got a little bit of leeway, haven't they? So it's they're in a fairly comfortable position in the group.
Absolutely. No, they've done really well, considering we were talking about the Essex missing key players. Surrey have missed 7 players to both England in the Women's World Cup and in the A matches against India A as well. So they will gradually be coming back and make them even stronger. So just one Chatley back from the A team, and of course with England women playing in the final later today.
Yes, of course, it's a big day for women's cricket all round. There's a slip in, that's run away nicely, and that's a very good stop actually at cover. That was actually going along at a fair old rate, and Bosch got across and just made sure it probably didn't go for 4 actually. It was well timed, and she got across left-handed and stopped it. And it's only 1 when it could have been 4, 2 for no wicket.
Absolutely, she's a good top fielder, Annika Bosch, and has already saved quite a few runs for her new team.
5 1 savers on the offside, 2 of which are effectively short thirds, and there's a nice delivery actually there from Munro. It was a loose stroke that from Smith, trying to hit it through the covers and not making any contact. So the final at Lords, let's hope it's a good pitch. Good signs last week actually with the pitch they used for the women's game last Sunday afternoon. Looked a good one. So England women, Australia women at 3:30 this afternoon, and that's obviously a big moment in the women's game, a World Cup final. It's on this afternoon, as this is well pitched up and sliced away a little bit by Smith for a single out towards deep backward point. Didn't quite get hold of that. I think she's trying to punch that away through the covers, but it went off the outside half of the bat and away for one. So 3 for no wicket, and fairly good start here from Munro. That one she sort of floated up a little bit, and it just stopped the intended shot, I think. It's just a bit squarer than she was intending, not quite as well timed. So slip in, now 4 saving 1 on the offside and 2 on the leg side. So there's the 7 in the circle, as that's just played defensively here by Chatley up towards mid-off. Good start this from Munro. Can she make sure she doesn't concede a boundary off the last ball? Yes, Essex have had I think the turning point of the season was Cordelia Griffiths' injury.
Yes.
And I felt a little bit of sympathy for them as things have just gone away from them largely since that point. They were playing so well in the period up until that happened. As Munro bowls, and that's just run down off an open face and partly stopped at backward point. They get through for one. There's probably would have only been one anyway, even if it hadn't been stopped, because there was a third man. A third on the boundary, just coming in to complete the fielding, and that's a tidy enough start there from Munro. A couple of singles to both Smith and Chatley, who'll now have to strike, and Surrey, who have been asked to bat here, are 4 for no wicket.
Yeah, no, and Flo Miller, the latest injury as well.
Yes.
So,
and of course, Abdul Masood.
Absolutely, away on Scotland duty, and couldn't, of course, take part in the World Cup.
That was an awful shame for her, because that would have been a huge highlight of her career. Hopefully she'll get a couple more chances at least to represent her country in a World Cup.
Absolutely. Well, Kate Kopak is going to start proceedings from the Sir Alistair Cook end. She will be bowling first to Kira Chatley. No slip for Kate Kopak. We saw one in the first over when Chatley was batting the bowling of Sophie Munro, but ring of fielders saving the one. Everyone now ready. Right arm over, and that's cut away, and that'll be 4 off the first ball. Just coaxed through the covers, really. Lovely shot. But a little bit of width there from Kate Kopak first up, and it was a bit of a loosener. And full advantage was taken, the first boundary of the innings.
Yeah, and good viewing actually. It's
yes.
Encouraging. So hopefully that will inspire the Essex women. The fact that got a good few watching them this morning.
Yeah, it's nice. It's all around the ground as well,
yep.
rather than just in a couple of stands, and that's flicked away into the leg side, and they take a single out to deep square leg. And Essex do have someone patrolling the leg side field. It's usually the role of Liberty Heap these days to patrol one of the two sides, and I imagine it'll be Jodie Grewcock on the other.
Important for Essex to have Grewcock and Shriven back from a batting perspective, because they're missing Lissy McLeod, who'd made 164 runs in the competition today.
Absolutely. Kopak in again, and not quite timed by Bryony Smith, and the ball goes back to the bowler. It's a better delivery too, must be said, from Kate Kopak, who has taken just 5 wickets in the competition so far at 31. 4 of those in one innings, when she took 4 for 18 against Hampshire.
Yep, saw that. That was brilliant. I interviewed her after the game, and that was absolutely superb.
In again, and that's forced nicely on the back foot, but straight to the fielder, who does pretty well, because at the moment the outfield is looking a little bit bruised by the recent sun.
Not quite 1976 style yet,
not yet,
I think in another month if this carries on.
You certainly would fear for your elbows should you have to slide on it at the moment.
We've just upped the temperatures for the next week compared to where they were a couple of days ago. So it's another genuine heat wave coming up.
Yeah, it's over 30 again.
Yeah.
I saw your forecast. Well, Kate Kopak just pulls out of that run-up, which she does periodically. She doesn't feel that she's got herself in exactly the right spot. Race is in now, and that's flicked away. Oh, it's fetched. It's a super shot. Lovely timing from Bryony Smith. She picks up her first boundary and just straying slightly onto leg side. And is it a no ball as well? Just checking. No, it was just the 4 runs. Saw a signal from the umpire that confused me slightly, but it was a lovely shot. But just losing the radar slightly, and Kopak has another player going out into the deep. Sophia Smale heading out that way, and this is up in the air. This could be out, but drops safe. It was almost as if Grace Scrivens and Sophia Smale couldn't decide who was going to go for that one, and Bryony Smith gets away with it, but it fell agonisingly over the ring of fielders, and in the end it's another single, and 10 off that over from Kate Kopak, and the score after 2 overs goes to 14 without loss.
Yes, Bryony Smith, 10 Women's T20 internationals to her name, so she has been part of the England side, and doubtless be keeping an eye on proceedings later on. This game will have finished by the time that World Cup starts. I'm sure everyone on both sides will be paying keen attention to that. Is there a way of beating the mighty Australians? It's going to be tough.
But they're playing as well as they have done for a long time, England, at the moment.
They have, and that's the encouraging thing about it, isn't it? As Munro bowls, that's a bit short and pulled away. Got away with that one slightly. It's been sent out straight to deep mid-wicket. And I say a good few spectators in the covered part of the stand there. Actually, they could sit out in the open at the moment because there's no sun to worry them. But maybe they're thinking, get a place there in case it does get rather sunny and warm later on. But a good few have come in there, and one goes to a total 15 for no wicket. Chatley back on strike. So very cloudy, coolish breeze, bit humid, but not too bad. And, bit of a refreshing change in a way. Slip in, and here's one that's skied away, and that is going to fall safe, and one bounce 4 to the fine leg boundary. It was a little bit of a top edge, but actually she got quite a lot of bat on that, Chatley, and almost enough to carry it for 6. She's sort of playing the shot again there, again as she's walking back to her mark, but she got pretty good bat on that, and just the one bounce, it went fine with the fielder on the boundary. And yeah, she looked up a little bit after she played it, as if she was anxious, but it was well away from the long leg.
Yes, I don't think that's one that the bowler will want to watch too many times.
No.
Short down the leg side.
It was the wrong place, wasn't it? Would have been a very soft dismissal if she'd hold out. This one is on the pads and just worked away for a single. That's well done. Umpire signals that's entirely off the pad, but one more to Surrey, who made a bright start. 20 for no wicket in the third. Surrey, as I say, top of the table, but it's looking pretty good for that top 4. The top 4 going through from this section, and they will have their finals day, I think, the day before the men, which is all rather odd. But this is next delivery, which is clubbed away. That's a good shot. That's a fine stroke away through the covers. A little bit short and wide outside the off stump. Not such a good over this from Munro, and Smith has capitalised by crashing that away through the covers for 4. That was a fairly ruthless shot, and yeah, unfortunately Munro's just slightly undone the good work from the first over, because she's just dropped a bit short both sides of the wicket.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Nick. It's the first over was right on the money, and this has had 2 loose-ish deliveries, both of which she's been clubbed away to the boundary for.
So turning into a decent start this for Surrey. 24 for no wicket in the third after they were sent in. Sort of fairly straightforward decision given the cloud cover. And here's next delivery, which is driven slightly uppishly up towards mid-on. Just for a moment, Munro might have been thinking that was coming straight back to her, because I think it was slightly off the outer half of the bat, but it went up to mid-on, up to Gardner, and it's 24 for no wicket. Smith on 12, Chatley on 11, and at least a dot ball after a few have gone from this over. Here's the next one, which is played away nicely, just wide of mid-wicket, but in fact, good stop in the end there. I thought there was going to be a single on, but it wasn't to be. And in the end, Munro dragging that back nicely with a couple of dot balls at the end of the over when she just pitched it up a little bit more. So 3 have gone. Surrey sent in 24 for no wicket, Smith 12 and Chatley 11.
Yeah, it was good work from Sophia Smale there to save what could have been another 4 runs. It was better bowling towards the end of that over as well from Sophie Munro, and it's Sophia Smale, after pulling off that very good stop at mid-wicket, who keeps the ball because she's going to take over at the Sir Alistair Cook end after just 1 over from Kate Koppak. So Sophie Munro, Sophia Smale, who did pretty well away on England A duty. Scored some runs, took some wickets, and all 3 of the Essex women impressed. And that is given some nice air. It was a terrible misfield. It will only cost a single, but Eva Gray will be disappointed that she just took her eye off the ball, but there was a long off, so it'll only be a single.
Yep, at least it wasn't too expensive.
No, Sophia Smale, left arm round the wicket, spin. And that is not a greatly timed shot from Bryony Smith. It's a thickish outside edge, played slightly aerially into the offside. In the end, it was a good stop from Grace Scrivens diving to her right, and it never looked like carrying to the fielders. That just flirts with the leg stump and is immediately on it is Bryony Smith. And she sweeps that away for 4. It's a very good shot indeed. She knew that the fine leg was up, and she made the most of it.
She bowled 7 overs yesterday in the game at Taunton. That probably wouldn't have finished much before 6:15. So it's not probably going against the traffic. Most of the traffic probably going the other way, but having to go all the way from Taunton to a 11:30 start at Chelmsford, 3 of the team.
Yes, it's a bit of a schlep, isn't it? And that's punched nicely, just placed. Doesn't try and hit the cover off the ball on this occasion, Bryony Smith. She just saw that with mid-on set back, if she could just get it past mid-wicket, there was always a single, which she takes. Score goes on to 30. Oh, and there's the first wicket. And Sophia Smale, as Kira Chatley leans back to try and cut the ball away. The spin did her, and she has been bowled. So the first breakthrough for Essex this morning comes from one of the returning England A players, Sophia Smale, and she has bowled Chatley for 12, the score 30 for 1.
And she'll be pleased with that because yesterday she bowled 7 overs reasonably well, but didn't get a wicket. And here she comes on and gets one very quickly indeed. It's a lovely delivery that. I'm interested to see what it did, because there was an attempted forcing shot off the back foot. Didn't appear to do a huge amount, but it hit the off stump 3/4 of the way up, and well done to Sophia Smale. It's nice for me to see an Essex take a wicket again here, because the last time I was on with you I didn't take any. But,
oh, that's right.
And that actually, that Hampshire, as we thought it had, did break virtually every record in the book.
Yes.
But at least they're not going to have that to worry about today. They've got a relatively early wicket, and well done to Sophia Smale. So 30 for 1. As I say, it's a shame that we've got to this game without Essex still being in contention really for the quarterfinals, because early on they were top of the group after one game.
Well,
they were
they won 3 of their first 4.
That's right. But if they can finish a format strongly, it sets things well up for next season. But anyway, that's encouraging.
Well, to the wicket strides Laura Harris, the 35-year-old Australian, who's having a good look around. This season she's played all 9 matches for Surrey in the Blast, and she's immediately off the mark as she doesn't quite time it, but drives it pretty sweetly up to long on, and they trot through for a single. That's the end of the over. 7 from it, but the important bit, the big wicket. And well bowled Sophia Smale.
Yeah, Harris 132 runs at 16.5 apiece, so the average doesn't matter too much. It's just the weight of runs really, but she's she's in the top 5 in the leading run scorers for Surrey in the competition, so she's going to be an important wicket to take. And Essex, I think here, having won the toss and chosen to bowl, just need to try and keep taking making regular breakthroughs as and when they can, because that's going to be key to keeping this total down. Now it's going to be Eva Gray, who is the Essex leading wicket taker on 11.
She's who's been captaining the team in Grace Scriven's absence.
Captain in the last game. And can she add to that 11 here? She's going to come in to bowl to Harris at 31 for 1. That's a good delivery. That's a beauty. She has added to it. I think Harris has played on. We'll have a look at the replay there. But it was a delivery that she was just went onto the back foot and looked like she was just trying to push it away into the onside. But I just wonder if that's come off the bottom half of the bat and gone onto the stumps, or whether it's gone straight through. But it was a curious dismissal. But Essex have come right back at leaders Surrey here with 2 very quick wickets. First of all, Sophia Smell, and now Eva Gray. First up, getting the breakthrough there. And let's have a little look and see what that did. Did it get anything off the bat? It seemed to, if it's not, it's just gone straight between bat and pad. But it's a curious dismissal, because just got into 2 or 3 minds there, I think, and in the end it might have taken an inside edge onto the stumps. But a really curious dismissal. But well done to Eva Gray.
Absolutely, I think actually Eva Gray might have got it to just come back a little as well. Yep. And but you're right. The main problem for the batter, Laura Harris, was she was trying 3 different shots and none of them worked. Yeah. She
certainly seemed to be changing her mind there, because looking at that again in the dressing room, she probably won't be too happy with how she dealt with it. It's as if she turned what was probably a reasonably straightforward first delivery to a bit of a minefield for her. But anyway, so we've just been flagging up the importance of getting Harris out early, and that's exactly what Essex have done. So still some fine batting to come here for Surrey, and Jemima Spence, who's also in that list, 228 runs for the season. Yeah, she has done really well, the 19-year-old. And 7 in the ring, saving 1. This one's gone down the leg side. Just wait for the umpire's signal. Might have come off the pad. Just gone down towards fine leg, and there is a run to the total, and it is a leg by, so it was entirely off the pad. And Surrey are 32 for 2, and they've lost those 2 in rapid succession, a wicket each for Smell and for Eva Gray. And Essex will be quite pleased.
Yes, they want to see the back of Jemima Spence. She's got a couple of 50s this year. One of them against Essex, 52, her top score.
So this next delivery is punched away nicely off the back foot, but straight to cover, and that was well stopped by Bosch, because she is a very good fielder, as you were saying. And again, that was travelling reasonably quickly. She had to make sure she got in line with it. But looks like still waiting for the big innings from her from an Essex perspective. But she's very good in the field. As Gray again comes in, bowls, just holds that one back a little bit, and it's spotted nicely by Smith, who punches it away off the back foot between 2 of the offside infielders. That was very nicely placed, as much as anything else, and hit it wide of Bosch and away for 4 to the square cover boundary. That was a nice stroke. It was held back a little bit, but Smith spotted it, and the slower ball was put away very nicely between the 2 of the offside infield. 36 for 2 in the 5th.
Yeah, she did. Just as you say, she saw it coming.
Gray again, bowls to Smith. That's on the pads, and she works it away to deep mid wicket and collects a single. So Bryony Smith going along pretty well here, but don't think too alarmed. Lost a couple of partners in quick succession, but Surrey still got plenty of batting there, and it will keep coming. So Essex will need to just keep taking wickets to make sure that they can keep this Surrey total within reasonable bounds. Here's Gray again, bowls. That's a slightly flatter one straight in at the stumps, and Spence will just tuck it away for a couple of runs into the wide open spaces in front of the executive apartment, in front of the apartments, not don't know if they're executive ones, but the apartments, and from which we don't have, maybe have one or two people looking out at the moment. Takes a couple of runs, and a wicket taking over to start with there from Gray to give her 12 for the campaign now. And Spence has 2 and Smith has 22, and it's 39 for 2.
Yes, 8 runs eventually from that over, 7 off the bat, and good start from Eva Gray though. Just what her team needed was just, as you were saying earlier, Nick, just keep taking the wickets if you can and just putting the pressure back on Surrey. But at the moment, Surrey's skipper is going along at a very decent rate indeed, so they'd like to see the back of her sooner rather than later, and it will be Sophia Smale who will be the latest to try that. But it's driven up to long on. Joe Gardner, not for the first time, picks up the ball and they trot through for a very easy single.
Yes, that Women's World Cup final, England are going to need things to go their way, but I'm sure that well, I know the MCC have been encouraging the members to turn up, haven't they?
Well, yes.
But I think all the rest of the ground should be pretty well populated.
Jammed,
absolutely.
Yes. Which is fantastic to see. Oh, and there's the attempted reverse, and there's a big LB shout. I think bowling left arm round probably makes the LB slightly difficult, but it was a decent shout. And certainly she missed the reverse and it thudded into the pad.
So, yeah, so it wasn't given. Was it given it a run? Because I just wonder.
Was the no leg by signalled? Well spotted. Yeah. So that probably saved it.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because it looked pretty good shout if it had just gone straight. Well, the umpire maybe thought that had hit the bat. It's a very good shout otherwise.
It's fast smelling again, and that's just slightly short and pulled away, but there is a fielder out in the deep, and Annika Bosch does the fielding.
Yes, because both Smith and Spence had added a run at the start of the
you're
over.
Absolutely right. It's been given as a single.
But my impression was that had gone straight into the pad, I have to be honest, from looking at the replay. So it was a good shot, and I can see why she appealed.
Survives though, Jemima Spence. And Joe Gardner just coming into the ring from long on, moving to mid on, and there is a deep square leg now going out, and that's a really well pitched up delivery that's dug out by Spence. This is a good over from Sophia Smale. Just the 3 singles from the first 5 deliveries. Faster ball. Oh, and that's a clever ramp. That's a really well played shot, and we are going to see the 4 off the final ball of the over, which is always frustrating for the bowler, but it wasn't as if it was a bad ball. It was just a very clever piece of batting from Spence, who moves on to 7, and 7 runs in the end from that over. 46 for 2 after 6.
Yeah, very well executed ramp shot. Just sort of read the delivery and played it away extremely well. So, well, honours still fairly even. 6 overs, 46 for 2. Smith 24 and Spence 7. And Jodie Grucock. So, back from England duty.
I suppose the power play is now over, so... But Eva Gray bowled that last over rather well. I'm quite surprised she was whipped out as quickly as she was. But keeper for later.
So spin from Grucock, and she's going to be bowling initially to Smith, who's been the mainstay so far, 24 from 20. Still solid cloud cover, first delivery, just played away off the back foot. Just read the little bit of turn there and punched it away out towards Shrivens at cover, and there's no run. So we've got 5 saving 1, 3 of them on the offside. More boundary fielders now. That one again just played off the back foot. She just backed away outside her crease. There did Bryony Smith, and played it away this time for a single through the offside infield out towards deep cover sweeper, and gets 1. So 47 for 2. So we have... It's got 2 right-handers in. We've got not too many changes in the field, but we've got a long on and a deep mid-wicket and a deep square leg on the boundary. And there's a sweeper that we've just mentioned. It was in the action on the cover boundary as well. So those are the the four at the moment, riding the boundaries. We've got a mid-off, a cover and a short third and a short fine leg and a straight mid-on. This is hit in the air and safe. Ooh. Good execution, but not too far away from mid-off. Probably a bit too close for comfort, but got to the pitch of it and lofted it away down the ground, Spence, and collects a 4.
No, it was well placed in the end, wasn't it? But Sophie Munro must have thought for a second or two she might be in with a chance.
Yeah, that was in the end a pretty good shot. So Jodie Grucock with her leg breaks continues. Another one that's fired in, and that one just played comfortably enough by Spence up into the covers. And there is Scrivens again, and there's no run. 51 for 2, so 5 off the over so far. Just that 4, a couple of dot balls and single off a second ball.
She had a couple of 50s away with the England A team as well, didn't she, Jodie Grucock?
51 for 2. This is an attempted ramp shot, not quite as effective as the one in the previous over. There's going to be possibly 2, and it's gathered in about 2/3 of the way back to the boundary behind the keeper. Liberty Heap completes the fielding. She batted very nicely last time I saw Essex, and hopefully there'll be a bit more of that later on.
She did again in the next match too. Yeah. She's been the real success story, breaking into the team and cementing her place.
53 for 2, and this one just held back a bit, and Spence just plays it away into a big open space on the onside. There's 4 fielders, it seems, converging on that, and they get back for 2, and there's a misfield, and it results in actually a third, which probably shouldn't have been, because it was one of those where 3 fielders were converging. There was always going to be 2 because it was perfectly placed, but unfortunately the throw missing everybody and able to get back for the extra run, which is slightly spoilt the over in terms of the runs conceded. But yeah, it was just a nice piece of placement. Got back for the second, which always looked to be on the cards. I mean, there was the throw coming in, but there was no chance of a run out, so it was a bit of a gift of an extra run.
It really was. It was a loose throw. Hadn't checked to see who was backing up.
Yeah.
And
had there been a possible run out, it would have been, you could
exactly.
see it. Yeah. So 56 for 2, but not a bad over that at all, and a little bit unlucky, obviously, to concede the extra 3 runs from a soft push into the onside.
Well, Sophia Smale, after 2 good overs, 1 for 14 from her 2 overs, can hold something back, obviously. Grace Scrivens and Kate Kopak, who went for 10 in her first over, is back into the attack. She will be bowling to Spence, who was raced to 16 off 9. Smith 25 off 22. The current run rate exactly 8. And Kate Kopak runs away from us here in our commentary box. Quickish delivery, and that comes rather high off the bat as she looks for the straight drive. Spence doesn't quite time it, and it just goes straight to Jo Gardner at mid-on, who was long on for a long time, but is now inside the circle and stopping the single. As races away, fast run up Kopak, and that just airs down the leg side. Should be stopped by fine leg, and is very well, but not before they trot through for a couple.
Yes, that 4 for 18 from Kate Kopak really was quite excellent. At one point, it looked like Hampshire were going to make a below par total in that game at Southampton, but then Amanda Jade Wellington, who's caused problems with bat handball for Essex this season, had a good final over with the bat, and then Essex with the bat were in a pretty good position at one point, and I wonder if their season might have been a little bit different if they'd actually managed to get over the line in that game. It would have been a huge win if they got it.
Kopak in again, and that's punched on the up. It's a good shot because it wasn't over-pitched in any shape or form, but driven very nicely out into the deep cover area, and they go through for another 2. And that's what's impressing about these 2 at the moment, Bryony Smith and Jemima Spence. They're looking for 2 wherever humanly possible, and usually making it and putting pressure on the fielders. Grace Scrivens is just getting the fine leg to go a little bit wider. Now Kate Kopak is in once again. Full delivery, this should be, it's just over the top. I thought for a second that was going straight to Jo Gardner, but I misjudged it, and it cleared her fingers by a matter of inches, and then to rub salt in the wounds went for 4.
Yes, you got a decent amount of bat on that. It lofted away, and mid-on going back, Joe Gardner stuck out a left hand over her shoulder, but it would have been odds against be able to hang on to that. It was just well enough hit.
No, Jemima Spence got just a bit more of that than I thought. Kate Kopach's getting a bit of movement though, keeping the batter honest, and that's a really nice looking shot, but well fielded by Grace Scrivens. Glorious cover drive for nothing.
Yeah, Spencer started really well, hasn't she? She's virtually caught up with her partner at 24 from 14, and I would say we've mentioned her stats. Leading run scorer for Surrey on 228. This is Smith, and then Spencer's on 208. So the big two, and really, in terms of the volume of runs, are actually out of the middle at the moment.
Yeah, she's got a decent strike rate as well, Jemima Spence, 110, so she rattles along. She doesn't mess about. Now, Joe Gardner has gone back to long on. It's Kate Kopach now comes into bowl to Spence. Slower ball, and good one, but Spence played it pretty nicely, and she even manages to beat the extra cover fielder Jodie Grucock and goes back for 2 more. So it wasn't a bad over from Kate Kopach, but it still went for 10. So one of those annoying ones as far as the bowler's concerned. 66 for 2 at the end of the 8th.
Yeah, it's credit to these two, but they're finding boundaries and twos in most overs, and that's just keeping the overall rate on the sort of side that they would like. So 66 for 2 off 8. So just going along at more than 8 and over, and you feel that Essex could do another wicket, having got that double strike.
Yes.
They haven't been able to consolidate on that, so it is going to be Eva Gray again, who struck with her first delivery. Laura Harris was in several changes of mind, but Smith and Spence have got themselves pretty well established here. They've had 35 so far, and they've done it in 1 ball short of 4 overs, so they've been going along at more or less 9s, as this is the first delivery of a new over, and it's played straight out to cover, and that's well stopped and saves possibly a couple of runs there, Grace Scrivens.
Yeah, good stop by the skipper, wasn't it? Decent delivery, but really nicely played again, and these two are seeing the ball very well indeed currently.
Short third, backward point, quite fine, a cover, a mid-off, and a short fine leg saving 1, as this is hit away between 2 of the offside infielders out to the sweeper for a single for Smith. So tidy enough start to the over from Gray, just a couple of singles. 67 for 2. Field change now with Spence back on strike. They're obviously looking to deal with that ramp shot because we've got a fine leg going back to the boundary. So we've still got 4 on the offside saving 1. The only fielder saving 1 on the leg side is a straight mid-wicket. The umpire's attire at square leg, very similar actually to the Essex one. And that's driven away. It's a good shot. That's 4 runs. It's a lovely stroke. Spence is playing really well here. That was slightly overpitched and driven away between cover and mid-off. One of the shots of the day so far. Beautifully timed. Nothing really there that Munro or Scrivens, as it bisected them, could do about that. And that's 4 runs, and it's Spence 30. 71 for 2 in the 9th.
Yeah, a bit of width too from Eva Gray, and she was on it so quickly, Jemima Spence, and she's seeing the ball very well indeed at the moment. Has done really from the moment she came in.
Here's Gray again from the Graham Gooch end. Bowl, slightly slower one, driven nicely and stopped well, but it's going to be a single. Scrivens couldn't quite stop it cleanly, but it was again probably saved a couple of runs, and these two, particularly Spence, looking dangerous. Spence on 31 now, 72 for 2. Smith's back on strike, with Laura Harris out for a single after Kira Chatley went to Sophia Smale for 12. So this is hit all in the air and safe for 4 to the third man boundary. That is unfortunate, because that was a little bit of a full shot. He was trying to hit it much squarer there, Smith, and it's flown away for top edge. Would have been very much in first slip territory, I think. Nothing that Dowse could do behind the stumps to stop that. That's a fortuitous boundary. Would have been probably a bit high for a slip unless they were quite deep, but it was would have been much more of a chance for a slip than a keeper. That keeper standing up. 76 for 2, a bonus 4 for Smith, who goes to 30. And this one driven down the ground, past the bowler, up for a long on for a single. So Smith to 31 and 77 for 2.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad over from Eva Gray, was it? There was the one slightly over-pitched wide delivery that was smashed before from Spence, but nothing else, and yet 11 runs from it. And at the moment, these two are rattling along. They've now put on 46 for this third wicket in very, very sharp time. Grace Scrivens has decided to bring herself on now. Who I think, I can't remember if it was the last match or the one before that for England A, took 3 wickets and a half century in the same match. So Grace Scrivens certainly well worth bringing to the party at this juncture, the skipper.
So Grace Scrivens, who had a pretty good outing yesterday. 2 for 49 in the 50 over game, and 46 with the bat.
Yes, she did pretty well. It's a good, decent series. Well, she's got 8 wickets in this competition in the 6 matches she's played so far. Ooh, and that is thumped back but not timed. And again, it didn't look for a second as if it was a million miles away from a possible caught and bowled, but it didn't quite carry also to mid-off. And this is fetched nicely, and there are 2 fielders out in the deep to try and stop that shot on the deep mid-wicket boundary. Neither of them can. Terrific placement by Smith.
Yeah, dangerous partnership this.
And that's the 50 partnership, isn't it?
Smith, one way or another, has started to accelerate after being a bit becalmed in the early 20s.
Yeah, decent 50 partnership then for these two, and that's clubbed on the up to Joe Gardner at long on, and will just be a single. But Scrivens has taken 8 wickets at 18, economy of just over 7. Took 3 for 23 against Lancashire, their best figures this season. She's now just tweaking the field a little.
I wonder if Grace Scrivens can repeat her batting performance against Surrey a little bit later on. 85 not out.
Yep, top score this season, isn't it? Yeah.
And one of the 5 biggest individual scores in the competition, actually.
Grace Scrivens in again. Gives that a little bit of air, and that's really nicely played. The sweep shot is pulled out, and they'll get 2. Good running again. And that has been a real feature of Jemima Spence's innings so far, as the amount of what were comfortable 1s turned into very quick 2s. Placement's been excellent, and Grace Scrivens is in again. Gives that a little bit of air, and it's, well, clubbed away, and again the gap is found, and it's 4 more. So twice in this over.
Sounds like there's some Surrey fans in.
Yes, indeed. And we're hit straight to them by the sounds of things.
I wonder if they've come from the West Country as well, like some of the other players come from Taunton. Of course, Surrey men were at Bristol last night.
Short, and not really played entirely convincingly, funnily enough, from Jemima Spence. She gets down on one knee and in the end manages to get the ball out to the deep mid-wicket area and trot through for a single. But again, 12 off the over, and halfway through this innings, Surrey are well set after being put in by Essex. 89 for 2 after 10.
Yeah, and Surrey certainly on top now. So a bit of work for Essex to do. Got to try and keep this below. Well, I don't really want to go much more than another 90 or so. If they were to double this score, Essex might just settle for that. But I mean, it certainly don't want them getting anywhere into 200. That's going to be very tricky.
No, absolutely.
And of course, that's a very big score in the women's game. So partnership to be broken here, you feel. Sophia Smell, 1 for 14 in 2. Left arm spin bowls and played back down the pitch, and she feels in her follow through. So the England women against Australia women at 3:30 this afternoon at Lord's. Has flat one. That's a good pull drive out towards deep mid wicket. That's 1 run. Actually, it's a really well executed shot. Just bounced once before the fielder. probably felt she deserved a bit more from that, actually, Spence, but it was a good
shot.
Picked the fielder, but a really, really nicely executed pull drive. One run out to deep mid wicket, and that means that Smith on 36 is back in the firing line. So 1 for 15 in 2 overs and 2 balls. Smith, this is hit down the ground. That's a good shot. That's going to bounce once and go straight into the awnings, the black tarpaulin, which is actually a blow, which I think is now a largely disused TV commentary point at the Graham Gooch end of the ground. Straight as you like. Very good hit. 1 bounce 4. 94 for 2. Surrey putting pressure with this partnership on Essex. Smell bowls, that's a flatter one, and she gets it away to cover, and we'll feel she's really missed out. That was very short in the end, and Smith backed away looking to hit it, bisect the offside infield and hit it straight to Scrivens. 94 for 2.
Very nearly reached Scrivens as well. It was
Smell again. Bowls, it's a hit uppishly but safe up towards cover. Good comeback from Smell actually in this over. That wasn't too far away.
Yes, she tried to play it inside out and got herself in a bit of a tangle and nearly just ended up chipping it to Jodie Grewcock.
Smith 40 from 32 at 94 for 2 in the 11th. 1 ball left of the 11th, and Smell bowls it, and it's hit nicely off the back foot, but it goes past Bosch, and that's going to go for 4. And that will be frustrating because it looked initially as though Bosch was going to be able to get across. He's a very good fielder, was going to get across to that at backward point. But it actually was so well timed that once it was past her, it actually went across the pretty quick outfield now in these dry conditions, away for 4. And that, maybe Bosch, with her high standards in the field, will feel slightly frustrated that she dived over the top of that. And that's a good over now for Surrey. 98 for 2 after 11. They are pushing 200 here with this partnership. Essex have got to try and do something about it. Smith 44 and Spence 39.
Well, Sophie Munro takes over from Grace Scrivens. I'm with you on that, Nick. I think most of us were surprised that Annika Bosch didn't cut that one off, and what would have been a decent over, just 6 from it, turned into 9 from the over, and again a slightly expensive one. The run rate up just fractionally under 9 now. Sophie Munro, who her first over cost just 4, the first over of the innings. Second over cost 10, but she has been brought back in to try and make things happen from the Sir Alistair Cook end. She's just tweaking the field a bit, and there's a short third. On the 45, and the deep cover is just being brought a little square up. She's now happy, Sophie Munro. And then she just drags it slightly down the leg side, but in the end Jemima Spence didn't quite get much on it, and the ball just dribbles up to fine leg, and they trot through for a single. It came off almost the bottom of the bat perfectly safely, but maybe Mudge felt that she should have made a little more of that delivery, as it was Sophie Munro. Just sees the single coming. Again, now just gets Eva Gray to go to a little bit wider at fine leg. Oh, and that's played very, very fine indeed. Again, just straying down the leg side, Sophie Munro, and on it really quickly was Bryony Smith. And despite them having a deep fine leg out there, she managed to play it really, really fine, and picks up another boundary. So she is now moving along very sweetly indeed. 100 comes up for Surrey in the 12th over. This is driven up to long on, where Gardner does the fielding.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to keep the runs down without taking wickets here. These two really well established. Smith certainly upping the gears.
Yes, just
after Spence almost caught her up.
Well, she did for a while. She overtook her, and now Smith said, right, fine, I'm going to come back at you. And she is 49 not out from 35 now. Spence 40 from 23. Spence on strike. Munro in. Spence has flicked that round the corner. She'll be looking for 2. I don't think there's 2 there. There isn't. Bryony Gilgrass with a really good throw keeps them just down to 1. So on 49 not out, Got a couple of balls left in this over. Bryony Smith. Can she bring up her half century? Well, she's flicked it straight round the corner to the short fine leg, so not off this delivery. She has 250s already this season. High of 71 against Lancashire. So she's got another ball to try and bring up this third 50 in the T20 Blast campaign 2026. Sophie Munro is in, and that again is just turned straight, but brilliant piece of running from her partner ensures that Bryony Smith can go through for the half century. Really well played, of just 37 deliveries.
Yeah, and she's played well. At the moment, I don't think Surrey are threatening their run-scoring escapades for the men achieved on Wednesday night when they made 240. That would certainly put the game out of reach, but it's been a good performance by Smith and Spence after they were just set back a little bit by those 2 quick wickets. And Essex have got to try and find a way of keeping this total within reasonable bounds, and I would suggest that's not certainly 185, 190 and not much more than that. And even that's going to be tough to chase, but I don't want to be in a position where the game gets away from them in the field entirely. There's still a chance to come back here. Nothing that the wicket wouldn't help with, that's certainly true. Gray has bowled pretty well, 2 overs, 1 for 18. So this is hit with no timing, back down the ground. Gray doesn't field in his follow through, but mid-off picks up. Smith, I think, maybe just a bit of a change of mind there, and in the end just sort of clubbed it back straight down the ground, but with no timing. 106 for 2. So dot balls may be a fair rare event while these two are together from this point onwards, so that was one of them. And here's Gray again, rolled a flatter one. That's really well bowled actually. He's going for the Yorker, and Smith there just decided, well, I can't do much with that. I'm just going to block it out and send it down to short third. So 2 dot balls from Eva Gray, who I agree with you, Guy, might have just been kept on after that very good first over.
Well, she's still bowling nicely in this one. That was a really good Yorker.
Here's Gray again from the Graham Gooch end. Got another one that's right up in the block hole, and well, Smith swings a bat but doesn't really make much of a convincing connection. Gets a single out towards deep mid-wicket as 2 fielders converge, but yeah, I mean, it's been a good over, just a 1 run there. And again, that was no real timing in the shot, and again a nicely pitched up delivery. 107 for 2.
Terrific piece of fielding by Joe Gardner as well, because they were looking for their trademark 2, and she raced in a fabulous throw, getting them down to 1.
Yeah, that one probably, because it wasn't timed properly, in a way, it was probably hit a bit too hard. If she'd been able to get what she wanted there, that would have been just pushed into the onside, and it would have been an easy 2, but timing wasn't quite there, and the plan failed. But they get 1. Spence is on 41. That's a full toss. Will that be a no ball? That's quite a loose delivery. It goes out towards mid wicket. It is a no ball. That's not a surprise. That was a sort of lost control there, Gray, completely. It was just hit away for a single by Spence, but there's now a free hit with Smith on strike. 109 for 2. Yes,
that was so tight for a no ball, and funnily enough, Spence probably be very disappointed she missed out on it, but it has been adjudged above.
It was it was dropping. I mean, I say my initial thought, I wasn't surprised at the call, but
you called it absolutely right.
Yeah, but Smith is on strike with 51. She backs away. She hits this in the air. It's going to be going out towards Gardner, who takes the catch, but frustratingly, of course, it is the free hit. But she gets a round of applause for taking a good catch anyway. And if the next one comes along and it's not a free hit, the crowd will be backing her to get that one. But Gray got away with that nicely, because hitting it straight to the fielder, they've run one, but she's managed to keep this over going despite with no ball.
Yeah.
Just the 4 runs have come from it all told. 110 for 2.
No, that could have been far, far worse. No, she well recovered and well fielded by Joe Gardner.
She want to avoid any more no balls. Here's Spence at 110 for 2, and that one is another well pitched up delivery. It's a wide. Again, she might have just lost control of that one slightly, and it's gone down the leg side and is signalled as a wide. So a real mix and miss over. 111 for 2.
I'm trying to remember, there was a match here earlier this season, one of the women's matches, where the opposing skipper bowled 2.
Yeah, that was the one I was with you
that's
for.
Right,
that would have been Georgia Adams.
Yes, that's right, and had to take herself out of the attack.
111 for 2. That's a hit for a single out towards deep mid wicket. Again, hit too hard to have any chance of a second run. And strangely enough, apart from the extras, this has been a pretty good over from Gray, but it's turning into quite a long over. It's only 6 conceded with 2 wickets down, but unfortunately she's given away more or less half those 6 runs herself, hasn't she?
Yes.
So 112 for 2 in the 13th. But any over that goes for 6 or 7, Essex will take in this circumstance. Can she stop the 4? This is Smith hitting it away for possibly 2. No, it's actually well stopped actually on the deep square leg boundary, and they're just going to get the 1. So that was a strange old over because apart from the extra runs conceded by the no ball and the wide, that was really very good indeed from Eva Gray. But 113 for 2, Smith 53. And we have Spence there on 43, and his very good partnership continues, worth 82 now. But Kate Kopak at the end of that over, nice piece of fielding to make sure that they didn't have any chance of a second run.
Yes, it was a curate's egg of an over. That was very good in parts. So it will be Kate Kopak to come into the attack, continuing the attack from the Sir Alistair Cook end.
Of course, one of the curiosities of the Women's World Cup, we've got a bit more time to talk about it during this over, with the seamer bowling.
Kopak races away from us again, and that's up in the air. Now, are there any fielders who can take it? Yes, there is. And she's been there all afternoon, all morning, Joe Gardner, and this has gone straight to her, and Kate Kopak has the breakthrough that was so desperately needed by Essex, and Bryony Smith's excellent innings of 53 comes to an end on the 43rd ball she faced.
Yeah.
So 113 now for 3.
Yeah, and the partnership in the end was 82 and didn't add anything more. So again, we have an Essex bowler striking with the first delivery of an over.
Yes.
Now, could this be just a chance to apply a little bit of a break? They've got to get rid of Spence. But they could ideally want 2 relatively new batters at the crease at the same time would help in this situation. But it is going to be Phoebe Franklin. So Kate Kopak strikes, and Joe Gardner's a pretty safe pair of hands. She actually showed it a few moments ago with the catch off the free hit. And so backing up the fact that we were saying the Essex supporters were confident that she would take one that wasn't off a free hit, and she duly did. And certainly Essex will leave to get that wicket. They've got to try and keep Surrey within bounds here. Yes, the Women's World Cup, of course, a curious feature of it was that these days with all these competitions, these ICC competitions, they work out where India are going to end up in terms of semi-finals and all that sort of thing. So the first semi-final was scheduled for 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, a working Tuesday, on the expectation that India would be in it, and therefore would prioritise for Indian television. Of course, they weren't in it because South Africa, in probably what was the one real surprise of the tournament, beat India in a group match.
It's a really good delivery from Kopak. First up to Franklin, right into the toes, and Phoebe Franklin can't do anything much about that.
Of course, we are seeing more and more that the needs of Indian television, as much as anything else, is dictating a lot of start times this month.
That's played nicely out into the covers. It should only be 1. Phoebe Franklin comes into this in a little bit of form. She's just played the 3 Blast matches this year, but played in the last game against the Blaze and got a high score of the season of 46.
The good news is that 3:30 start this afternoon. It certainly suits Indian television, suits England. Doesn't quite so much suit the Australians.
No.
Who'll be up in the middle of the night, but of course English sports fans will be experiencing that phenomenon in the next
at 1 o'clock
hours. Yes.
tomorrow morning, yes. Kopak again races in, blonde hair, so, and that's picked up nicely, but it's one bounce out to Bryony Gilgrass out in the deep, and again her heart would have been in her mouth for a second there, Jemima Spence, but she gets away with it and moves on to 43. But some good breakage being applied currently by Kate Kopak. Just 2 singles and a wicket so far in the first 4 deliveries. In once again, slightly slower ball. Oh, it's well hit though, and that's been crunched for 4 through mid-on, and that was a really, really severe blow. The attempted slightly slower delivery was treated with disrespect really in the end, and funnily enough, Joe Gardner is now going back to deep long on rather than mid on.
Good convincing shot from Phoebe Franklin there.
Wasn't
new
it
to the
just?
crease, and no messing around with that one. Very well hit.
So it should be the last ball of the over from Kate Kopak. Won't be, because it's a wide down the leg side, and after a wonderful first 4 deliveries, things just sliding slightly for Kate.
Yeah, something Essex just need to get out of the repertoire. No balls and wides, which have spoilt 2 pretty good overs in a row from Gray and Kopak. But still, there's been a pretty good over this from Kate Kopak.
Indeed. So Kate Kopak comes in now. That's a much better delivery, and it's actually really well played in the end by Spence, who drives it up to Gardner at long on. They trot through for a single, but in the end the score goes up to 121, 8 off the over. But the big wicket, Bryony Smith going, caught Gardner, bowled Kopak for 53, that included 9 fours, and still there though is Spence on 44, Franklin on 6, 121 for 3 after 14.
And despite the no balls and wides in the last 2 overs, actually they have been 2 pretty decent overs, and it's just checked Surrey a little bit. They're still on course for around about 180, 185, but it shouldn't be a score which completely puts Essex out of the game. That's the key thing, and now they could really do with getting Spence out, because she's established, and it's going to be Jodie Grewcock who's going to make the first attempt to get another wicket. Phoebe Franklin after that 4 is going to be on strike. We have a square leg, a short fine leg, and a mid wicket, all saving one on the leg side, of course, with the leg break bowler bowling. That one is hit over Kopak at square leg and goes for 4, and that was really well executed by Franklin, because basically she sort of rode the leg spin, hitting it against the spin and hitting it over square leg, and very well executed shot. And Franklin has started well here, 10 from 5 balls, 125 for 3.
Yeah, she carried on the timing from her last match. Obviously she finished with the best score of the season, and she's seeing the ball very well indeed.
And a dramatic change in the field. We had the 3 saving 1 on the leg side. There's now only 1. And we've got 4 saving 1 on the offside, and they've reinforced the leg side boundary. This is a delivery which is a good one, because it cramps Franklin for room, which is only able to get it away up towards long off for a single. And that was nicely bowled. Might have been the googly, that, because of the way she was cramped for room, so it was a good execution. So Grewcock bowls her leg break. It's a very full length delivery, but driven firmly up to long off by Spence, and there's no run. So good comeback from Grewcock after the first ball went for 4.
Very much so, yeah.
So they've got the defensive field now on the leg side, after maybe being a little bit ambitious with those 3 in the ring on the leg side, which is quite unusual. This is a very good reverse sweep for 4. That's a good shot from Spence, who's really played very well here, and sized that one up and realised that she could get that away. Basically just hit it with the spin and away down past the offside infield. Yeah, nice stroke. Got into position very early, hit it really pretty hard. And she goes to 48 from 29, and it's 130 for 3.
She's pretty confident, isn't she? Because she played that off middle stump effectively, but she seemed to have all the time in the world to do so. Excellent.
2 short third to cover a mid-off and a short fine leg, saving one, and this is a lap sweep for a single to deep mid-wicket. And that's one more to Spencer, goes to 49. Franklin has 11. 131 for 3. Smith out for 53 from 43 balls. And here's a full toss from Grewcock. That takes Franklin by surprise a little bit, but it's not going to be any danger of that being a no ball, because it sort of almost lands at her feet, and all she can do is play it defensively. And in the end, the full toss proved to be quite a useful weapon there at the end of the over for Grewcock. So Franklin 11, Spence 49, 131 for 3. There are 5 overs to go. They're going to do well to keep Surrey below 180, but a couple of wickets might just make the difference.
Yeah, 180 you feel would be a real challenge. If they can have a really good last 5 overs and make the target somewhere nearer 160 than 180, you feel Essex would still be very much in with a sniff, but 180 would be a real ask. Well, Kate Koppak bowled very nicely last time. Last over, took a wicket, 8 runs from it. She will wrap up her issue of 4 overs, as again she doesn't quite get the run up right, so pulls out of that. It's marked a dead ball by the umpire, and the batter now getting herself ready again, and it is Spence on 49, needing just a single for a half century. And that's down the leg side and will be a wide, and that's, again, as Nick was saying, it's a bit of an Achilles heel for Essex when they bowl. Just too many extras, more to the point, too many extra balls. So just check how many wides we've had so far.
Oh, not too many, but they've come quite recently.
Yeah. Well, it's only 3 wides, and that's punched out, and that will be the 50 for Spence, and it's been a really good knock off, just 31 balls.
Well, a good Surrey contingent here, there's no doubt about that. Will they stay for the Middlesex men's game? I'm not sure. maybe to support Essex, you never know.
No, that'll be an interesting decision to make for the fans, but that has been a really, really good knock from Jemima Spence. It's Kate Koppak now bowling to Phoebe Franklin, who drives it up to the busy Joe Gardner at long on, and they go through for a single.
Yes, it will go some to be as dramatic as the game at the Oval I saw between the two sides last year. So Essex are going to have to bat pretty well here, you feel, whatever happens from this point onwards. Absolutely
right. It's a big, big ask. Kate Koppak is in once more, and it's driven, lashed, and it bounces off the knee of Eva Gray, and Kate Koppak has to go run back and do the fielding, and they can trot through for 2, and you feel for Eva Gray. It was a very bald bit of the outfield that the ball jumped up at her, and she did well to just stop it going through for 4, but it flew off her knee into no man's land, and the batters could turn around and run 2. Oh, and it's a lovely ramp again, and Spencer's played that so well in her innings, and that's gone for 4, and she's just flicked it from outside off stump down to very fine leg. Genius shot, and 4 more runs.
Yeah, executed that very well, hasn't she?
Yeah, she just looked for it, and
fine leg, wasn't too far away, but couldn't get across.
No, she was a slightly wide, and where you would expect the normal shots to go, and in fact Kate Koppak is saying, could you come a tad finer please, just to try and stop that particular effort. So it's straight driven, smashed down the ground, and that's 4 more, and Spencer's almost accelerated. I thought she was doing pretty well to accelerate from the rate she was going anyway, but that's 60 off 34 balls. This is a tremendous knock, as that is mown down to mid-off for 4 more. Kate Kopak and Grace Scrivens having a conversation, and Kate Kopak almost going, well, what do I do? What do I bowl?
Yeah, this is
13 off the over so far. Sorry, Nick.
Been a very, very good innings, hasn't it, from the start, and very positive.
Kopak races in once again, bowls short, and that's not a bad idea, but it's still, if slightly unconvincingly, she's still got enough of the ball. She kind of almost played a baseball shot, dragged it through mid-on, and she gets 4 more, so that was 3 successive boundaries for the in-form Jemima Spence. And that over turns out to be very expensive. We were saying, well, maybe
17,
if they can keep them below, I don't know, 160, but on 148 now for 3 with 4 overs to go.
Yeah, that's done things a bit from an Essex perspective. Very good batting from Spence, but that has unfortunately puts her in from an Essex perspective, puts her in a very strong position. Sorry, we're delighted with that over, because it's really made a difference. They've now got these two with another 4 overs to get this up beyond 190. Here's Smell bowling, and that's just driven away for a single up towards long on for Franklin. He goes to 13, but looking a little bit ominous after I think they've done pretty well apart from the no balls and wides in the previous 3 or 4 overs, but that's just made a bit of a difference.
Yeah, poor old Kate Kopak finishing with figures of 1 for 45 from her 4 overs.
So Smell in her last over, 1 for 24, 149 for 3. When the 17th over, sun just starting to come through every now and again. This is driven for another single up towards long on. Probably looking to hit it between long on and deep mid wicket, but again just hitting it straight to long on. So tidy enough start to the over, but that last over very much went Surrey's way. Here's Smale again, bowls and backing away outside the stumps. An attempt to force it through the onside, and she's bowled off stump. So Sophia Smale has struck, and it's Phoebe Franklin who's gone. She's backing away, looking to actually find the room to hit the ball between long on and deep mid wicket, as we were saying. Maybe a little bit of turn there, and that has found its way through. It was an ambitious shot, but at this stage Surrey able to attempt those, but much better over this for Essex. 2 singles and a wicket. It's 150 for 4, and on that occasion, it's just basically playing around it, looking to flick it away into that gap onto the onside, and losing the off bail. 150 for 4.
Yeah, well bowled again from Sophia Smale. She's bowled well in this match. She's picked up a 2nd wicket as well. And after her long trip back from Taunton overnight to make sure she could play in this match today, having been with England. So Alice Monaghan, the latest batter in at number 6.
Yep, plenty of batting there for Surrey, and she's in that list of high scorers, 162 for the season going into this game. 162 runs, so no let up for Essex.
Yeah, she's a decent all-rounder, Alice Monaghan. She'll be bowling almost certainly later as well.
So Sophia Smell, 150 for 4 on the 17th over. Bowls a flatter one. It's driven away up towards long off with no power, but more tricky to get 2s on that side of the ground. Again, a slightly loose throw, but there's no extra. And this has been a very good over from Smell. 1-1, wicket 1. Slightly drawn things back after the damaging assault by Spence on Kopak's last over, but now it is Spence on strike. She's on 65, 151 for 4. This one's driven down the ground just past the stumps at the bowler's end, goes for another single up towards long on. Very good over this. Can she see it out here? Smell 2 for 27, the last ball coming up, and in a real high pressure situation. She's only conceded 4 runs so far from this over, and got a wicket. 152 for 4, and the end of the 17th over. And here comes Smale again, bowls to Monaghan, and this is played away past the square leg umpire, but it should be no more than a run out towards deep mid wicket. They look for the second, it's not there. Well bowled, Sophia Smale, and a very good tight fast throw as well coming in. So that's all told, a good recovery from Essex after probably the worst over of the innings in terms of runs conceded. That was a really good one. It was 5 singles and a wicket, 153 for 4. Still 3 overs to go, but they've just drawn back the real damage done in the previous over. 153 for 4, 2 to Monaghan, and 66 from 37 for Spence.
No, you're absolutely right. That's the second most economic over of the entire innings, and the first over cost 4, and that one just 5. Grace Scrivens brings herself back into the attack, and this is launched in the air, but will be one bounce before being picked up by Gilgrass, and it was a good throw too, but good running means they did get through for 2. Monaghan really did have to sprint though in. It was good fielding. Yeah,
well, didn't have a name on her back, Gilgrass, but that was a fine piece of fielding. Very, very fast throw, very accurate as well.
No, she will earn her number, and I'm sure soon. And that's driven straight, and Grace Scrivens gets something on it, but not enough to stop the ball, but almost by slowing it down as much as she did, allows them to trot through for 2. Because the
just keeping trying to put a lid back on the boiling Surrey pot at the moment here, Essex, in terms of stopping more boundaries, but they're doing okay at the moment.
Well, Grace Scrivens coming round the wicket now. Oh, and there's an interesting one. Grace Scrivens has just bowled Monaghan, but Monaghan had stepped away because she saw something moving, or she just realised that Grace Scrivens was coming round the wicket.
Yes, you could argue that. Come back to that in a moment.
Oh, and she very nearly bowls her a second time, but Monaghan just gets something on the ball, and it dribbles down to the leg side, and they go through for 1 something or other.
Yeah, we just had a recent dismissal, didn't we, of a batter sort of backing away and being bowled. And sometimes it might be quite difficult to tell what what exactly the batter is doing up. I have to make a decision.
This is clever bowling by Grace Scrivens coming round the wicket. She's just cramping up the batters for space, and that's swept outside to deep square leg, but they can only go through for 1. So 6 off the first 4 deliveries so far. Grace Scrivens, this time she pulls out of the delivery before now bowling, and that's in the air and launched, and that is a terrific shot. What a good shot that was from Alice Monaghan. She just launched it over the mid-off fielder.
Yeah, well, 10 balls without a boundary with only 4 wickets now was pretty good going, and he felt that there was going to be one round the corner. It's important for Essex to stop another one now.
She used her feet really well, came down the wicket. And that's an LBW shout that has not been given, I think, probably on height reasons, and is a leg by. So that is the end of the over. 11 runs in some shape or form from it. Means it's 164 for 4 with 2 overs remaining.
Yep. Well, it's a pretty good score this for Surrey. It's going to be, you feel, up around 185, and it's probably going to be one that they'll be pretty comfortable with, and it's going to need at least 1 very good innings and probably a very good partnership for Essex to get close. But they do have a couple of reasonably, notably Scrivens, recent form behind her. So anyway, 2 overs to go. Here's Gray bowling, and that's a useful delivery which Monaghan can't do much with. In the end, she just runs it down off the bottom of the bat up into the covers and gets a single. A good start from Gray, 1 for 26 in 3.1, 165 for 4, Monaghan 12, and Spence on strike for 67. Here is Spence, looking to play the ramp, and goes back into her crease and is deceived by Gray, and she'll be delighted. She actually claps her hands, the bowler, after that little moral victory, because Spence was backing away trying to basically hoik it over short third and didn't really make any contact at all.
And I think Gray spotted her going, didn't she, and followed her.
Yeah, 165 for 4, and here Spence will just sort of back away again and then club it away to deep square leg, and Spence wants a second run, but isn't going to get it. So it's a pretty good start again here from Gray. 1-0-1, 166 for 4.
Yes, I was slightly surprised the Fire Smell came off, but Eva Gray bowling beautifully.
Gray up to the wicket again, bowls, and that's lofted away down the ground. It's going up towards long off. It'll bounce once and go into the boundary. Well placed, actually, that.
Yeah.
From Monaghan, because there's nobody at long off. There's a mid off and a long on, so pretty safe to hit it out there, and got plenty of bat on that. And 170 for 4.
It's a good shot because it wasn't that bad a ball, but she came down the wicket and smashed it back over her head.
Long on, deep mid wicket and deep square on the boundary on the leg side, deep cover on the offside. 4 saving 1 on the offside plus a short fine leg, and this is hit in the air and just past short fine leg, probably for 2. It's being chased back to the boundary. It will be stopped, and it'll come back for the second run, which is duly completed. Monaghan with a 4 and a 2 moves along to 18, and we've got 1 ball left of this over, which has so far gone 4-8, which isn't too bad if there's not a boundary here from an Essex point of view. 172 for 4. Gray again up to the wicket, bowls a flatter one that's hit away nicely just past cover, and it's not going to be stopped, I think, there by deep cover. And it's a very, very fine blow. Bosch couldn't get across to that. The sweeper out on the boundary, and that's turned it into a decent over for Surrey. Well, they probably got it at a par over with 6 wickets left. It certainly wasn't looking that way. A couple of balls out, but a couple of fine blows there from Monaghan. 4-2-4, and she goes to 22. They do really bat right the way through here. Sorry, that's a strong top 6, and Essex haven't managed to get beyond that at this stage. So 176 for 4, last over, and it's going to be Munro.
Yeah, 12 in the end off that over. Sophie Munro to bowl the last over. And that's the attempted smash through Cow Corner. In fact, comes off a thickish inside edge and squirts out backward of square, and they go through for a single. So not really timed, and they'll settle for just a single off the first ball. Essex settled for a single off every ball, I think. But that brings Monaghan on strike. Numbers 66 and 67 out batting at the moment. And this is swung away, and she's found the gap with fine leg up. It's a really good shot. She just sweeps the quick bowler Sophie Munro for 4 and just picks her off middle stump and flicks her out to that fine leg boundary for 4. It was a really clever shot. So the 180 comes up, which is frustrating as far as Essex is concerned. Munro in once again, right arm over, slower ball, clever ball. And she must have had a heart in her mouth for a moment as to whether that might have been given as a leg side wide, but because that is the way the batter had been looking to mow, the umpire decides no, Julia Jarvis, and gives the bowler the benefit of the doubt. So a dot ball. No, she goes full this time. Jo Gardner does really well to get in and get the ball, but she can't catch it. She does well to field it, indeed, as it bounces off her knee. It was one of those where she was twixt and tween. Do I stay back and stop the runs, or do I try and catch this? She went in to try and take the catch. Didn't quite get there, and the ball just banged off her knees, upper thighs, and just rolled out, and they managed to run through for 2 because the ball ended up in a unfielded space. Slower ball, clever ball. Umpire thinks about it because again it's a hint of leg side, but Sophie Munro gets away with it.
Maybe she thought it had just flicked the pad, because I think the batter's got a bit of a case if that didn't flick the pad.
Yes, I think so. And a couple of hard Paddington stares from the batter to the umpire in this over deliveries that were not given as wides. Munro comes in now to finish the innings, and it's launched straight at the fielder. Eva Gray in the end decides they'll have a single. I don't want to give any overthrows away. And actually that was a pretty good, decent last over from Sophie Munro.
Was.
8 from it. which means that the final score is 184 for 4. And, well, that innings from Spence, superb. Jemima Spence, 69 not out from 41. And Monaghan's cameo, 29 from 16 at the end. Well, that really helped as well. There's a terrific half century from Bryony Smith, who made 53. Couple of wickets from Sophia Smale, 2 for 23 off her 3 overs. She was probably the pick of the attack.
Yeah, Surrey's second highest score of the season. They'll be pretty comfortable with it. There might have been a few more out there for them, but they did very well. Jemima Spence was really outstanding with 69 from 41 balls with 9 fours. And for Essex, Sophie Munro with that very good finish in the circumstances, number 29 in 4. Kate Kopak, who's really just the last 3 deliveries she bowled, but spoiled her figures, 1 for 45 in 4. Sophia Smell, 2 for 28 in 4 was very good. Eva Gray, 1 for 37 in 4. Jodie Grucock bowled 2 overs for 20, and Grace Scrivens 2 for 22. So that is where we are with 184 for 4 for Surrey, their second highest score of the season. And Essex are going to have to go some to beat it, but they're certainly going to need a good start. And we'll be back with you probably around about 1:05 to tell you what happens in the Essex pursuit of 185 to win.
really? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. No, he really
Funny enough,
we are off here now.
the effects might
Well, welcome back on BBC Essex, BBC Radio London, online via the BBC Sport website and app. Nick Ledhill with Guy Swindles here at Chelmsford, which is still predominantly cloudy. The sun just occasionally peeking through, just little bits of blue sky, and temperate conditions, I would say, compared to what we're expecting during the week. Top temperature around about 27. I don't think it's anywhere near that at the moment. And Surrey made a good score, 184 for 4. We're starting again a little bit earlier than I was expecting, actually, because I'm sure we haven't barely had 10 minutes between the innings. But they're getting on with it. Maybe they all want to watch the Women's World Cup final later on this afternoon to get this game out of the way. Well, that game doesn't actually start till 3:30, but I'm sure a lot of the women's sides playing around the country today will be delighted that they've got games starting at this particular time, around about 11:30, so they can watch the the big event this afternoon at Lord's. So 184 for 4. Spence 69 was very good. Bryony Smith as well. And it's given a bit of a challenge here for Essex, but they're going to need a good start from Shrivens and Bosch, who is opening with Shrivens here. So welcome back to Guy. He's going to describe the first over, and we'll see if Essex can make the good start that they need.
Yes, that was a very quick turnaround.
It was barely 10 minutes, I think.
The kettle hadn't boiled. I'd never had the chance to make the coffee. Anyway, It is Chatterjee in from the Alistair Cook end, and the ball doesn't bounce that much, and Grace Scrivens was slightly surprised and had to fetch it from quite low down to flick it into the leg side, but she's off the mark with a single to mid-wicket.
The required run rate 9.25. Obviously, a good power play would be very handy for Essex here.
Yes.
And it's probably necessary.
But a big ask for Essex. Annika Bosch.
Just do with a confidence-boosting performance, even if they don't win the game. A good outing with the bat.
That's played nicely out to the deep cover fielder, and they trot through for another single. Annika Bosch, this is a third blast match. 29 runs now with that single, but a high score of 21 against the Blaze.
They had that 3-match winning streak in the 50 overs. It was really the start of the blast. I saw them at the start of the blast, demolishing Warwickshire and then putting up such a great show down in Southampton.
Yes, it was a bright... That is down leg side, but Grace Scrivens decided, you know what, I'll have that, thank you very much. And although it would have been a wide, has flicked it very fine for 4, and the first boundary is taken and the ball runs over the advertising hoardings.
Well,
so the poor fielder has to go and climb over to get the ball back.
Essex will be asking for a few more of those. That really was an odd delivery from Chatterjee. She completely lost control of a line there. And say a few more of those would be welcome from an Essex perspective early on here.
She played 5 matches in the Women's World Cup for Scotland. This is just her 4th match in the blast. Right arm over the wicket, and that is played interestingly by Grace Scrivens into the leg side aerially. But again, she knows exactly who is where. She's quite a little bit cross with herself because she didn't quite finish the shot, which is why it spent so much time up in the air. But she aimed at an area that was completely free of fielders, so perfectly safe.
As you mentioned, she had a good outing yesterday in Taunton, bat and ball, for England A.
And that's thumped away into the cover region, but the deep cover fielder gets across nicely and keeps them down to a single. But 8 runs so far from the over, 1 ball left.
And it says a lot actually for Grucock, Smell, Shrivens, that obviously Essex have not been one of the high performing sides in either competition this season, but the individuals have obviously attracted the attention of the England setup, and so she did well yesterday, 46 from 68 balls.
Well, you can see why, because Essex have missed the 3 of them.
Very much so.
Horribly, while they've been away. So you can see why they have been spotted. Chatterjee in, and that's again just helped into the leg side.
Is that a wide?
Yes, it is. I thought she'd got a bit of bat on it, but she hadn't. Oh, that is very
off
wide.
The keeper's
it was the noise I heard. You were right, Nick. It was
boot.
A keeper's boot pad, something or other, but it was very wide. And Julia Jarvis will give, we saw, the bowlers a little bit of leeway in the final Surrey over. On another day there could have been a couple of wides. As it is, coming round the wicket to try and solve the wide problem, and does so, because rocking back, Grace Scrivens can't force the ball away, goes straight to the fielder, but a decent enough start as far as Essex are concerned, with 9 coming from the first over. Grace Scrivens has now 6 not out, and Annika Bosch has a couple.
Yeah, basically that's the asking rate. Curious over that, and actually the best ball was probably the last one, but never quite found the right line and length there. Chatterjee. Now, interesting to see how Annika Bosch can get on. Of course, quite a lot expected of her. The first game that she played, actually, I saw, I think she got a third ball duck.
Yes.
But got 32 against Lancashire at Blackpool, 21 against the Blaze. But that's in different competitions. And this is played defensively up into the offside, and there's no run. First ball of the over from the new bowler for Surrey, who is... Lost my place actually momentarily. It's McDonald Gay.
Yes, well
McDonald
spotted,
Gay,
yes.
yeah. And
Yes,
she's
number
bowling from the
29,
Graham
yeah.
Gooch end. And Bosch still on strike. Will hit this in the air and just over short fine leg and get a 4. That was a bit of an ambitious shot, and she's got quite a lot of top edge on that, and it wasn't far away from short leg.
Still not quite sure how she played that shot.
No.
That was extraordinary. She got herself in a bit of a tangle, but still managed to get enough bat on the ball for it to go over the wicket keeper and go straight down for 4.
Yeah, more victory for the bowler there, because she wasn't really in position. But anyway, it would be a good time for Bosch to really deliver with the bat. She hasn't quite been able to do so yet, but she's got 6 from 4 balls, and here she plays a good drive away over cover. That's the sort of shot that the Essex fans would have been hoping for. More of those from her. That was a lovely shot, hit on the up, over cover for 4. And if that previous boundary, there was a little bit of fortune to it. There was nothing wrong with that one. That was a cracking shot. And McDonald Gay, who's got 14 wickets, she is a leading wicket taker for Surrey in the competition. She very much got something thrown back at her there. That was a fine shot.
That really was. There are a few better shots we've seen today than that one.
So it's 17 for no wicket. And here is a nice stroke away, actually with a deep cover on the boundary, just to cut off that avenue of a boundary for Bosch, and therefore it's only the 1 on that occasion, but 4-4-1, that's very good indeed from Essex perspective, and they've hit the rate required in the first couple of overs, 18 for no wicket in the second, 2 balls left of the over. So it's a good start this from Essex, they're going to need it. Yeah, so McDonald Gay, not the start that she would have liked, but here she bowls to Shrivens. That's on the pad of Shrivens and was worked away into the onside. I think there's a bit of bat on that. Wait for the umpire. No, entirely off the pad. I thought it was a little bit of bat, but no, it's entirely off the pad. So 10 off the over, 1-1-4-1-1, and then. Well, that's a previous over, so I'm giving you the wrong stats, but it's certainly right to say there's 10 off the over. It's included a couple of 4s. Our screen has frozen, hence we're giving you the previous over statistics, and that's driven away for a single up towards mid-off. So anyway, I'm sure the screen will rectify itself in a moment, but it is gradually doing so. And yeah, the stats on this over there were the 0-4-4-1, then the 1 leg by, and then a single. So all told, 2 boundaries, 3 other singles of various types. The first over went for 9, the second for 11, 20 for no wicket after 2. So Essex are up with the rate, which is just over 9 required. And so far, it's been a pretty good start. It looks a decent wicket, and if Shrivens and Bosch can have a good power play here, anything is possible. And they've made a good start.
They certainly have. No, excellent start as far as they're concerned, Essex. I was just trying to get the scoreboard television to work as well, but I can't get that to work either at the moment. So
Bosch is a fine player. She got an award for the T20 International Batting Performance of the Year last year with a 74 not out South Africa against Australia. So another dose of that would be very handy here.
it certainly would, as Alice Monaghan comes into the attack. She batted well earlier. That's short and dragged down the leg side a bit, but she gets away with it. And they did come off a bit of pad, I think, because there's no complaints from Annika Bosch about that one.
So Bosch, looking at her stats so far, hasn't really, 30 in the 50 over competition, but she hasn't really made her mark in the way that she's capable of, and this would be a great opportunity to do so.
This is played nicely out into the leg side. It'll only be the one. But also left-right combination at the top of the order is feel frustrating Surrey slightly as well at the moment. Lefty Grace Scrivens ready to face.
Two of the top four playing each other at Chester Street. The Blaze made 147 for 9 against Durham, who have 24 for no wicket in the third, and perhaps have been the surprise package in the competition. Up in the top four.
Short, pulled away brilliantly by Grace Scrivens, and the fielder's out there, but she hit it so hard and controlled the wrist so well that the fielder had absolutely no chance of cutting it off. Terrific shot.
Well, our picture feed screen is freezing, but certainly Grace Scrivens didn't do on that occasion. No. That was a lovely hit, wasn't it?
No, she's red hot, so no chance of freezing there.
No.
No, excellent shot. Short, pulled away, backward a square, it's 4 more. It's another really terrific shot because she's spotting the spaces and just changing, tweaking the shot accordingly.
Well, I'll tell you what, Surrey are top of this table. They haven't bowled like this all season because they haven't really started very well with the ball, to be honest. That was a pretty ordinary delivery, and all credit to Scrivens, she put it away, but it was a bit of a half tracker on leg stump. And I'm sure they bowl better than this normally.
That's a better delivery, but it's still gloriously played by Grace Scrivens. May have been ever so slightly over pitch, but it's still picked outside off stump and driven through long on for 4 more, and it's just terrific batting.
Well, terrific this from Grace Scrivens because she's had to come up from Taunton, or cross from Taunton, and did very well yesterday with that 46 we were talking about. So she's obviously in a situation where she's, just spent meaningful time at the crease in an international game, and looks in very, very good touch. And certainly Essex have missed her.
They really, really have, and she's showing exactly why at the moment. Short, pulled away, it's going to be 4 more. So that's 4 successive boundaries. Monaghan trying to make something happen, lost a line again, and it was down the leg side. And Grace Scrivens said, thanks awfully, I'll take that one. And she moves to 22 off just 9 deliveries. 17 in the end coming from that over from Alice Monaghan, and the scorers raced along to 37 without loss after 3. Well, you said they needed to make a decent start.
Yeah, they have done. Well, Alice Davidson-Richards went across and had a chat with the bowler there, I think probably trying to lift her spirits, because that wasn't a great over, but Scrivens played some fine shots through the onside. And it's just what Essex want, because they've actually beaten the rate in that over, so a good power play here, and anything's possible, and not losing wickets. So they're currently going at 12.3. The asking rate started at 9.25. It's now 8.71, and a couple more overs like this in the power play, and you've just got like an 8.5 over chase with all wickets in hand, and you're right in the game. Bosch is on strike to Chatterjee, who's changed ends. That could have been a wide outside the off stump, but she's cut it away for a single out towards deep backward point, and she collects 1. So I'm sorry, don't appear to have been quite their ruthless selves so far with the ball. Essex have batted very well, but there have been a few gift deliveries as well. 38 for no wicket, and Essex have started well in pursuit of 185, and this will be hurrying a few more in early before the Middlesex game later. And it's a good turnout anyway, actually, for Women's T20. It's looking at the sponsor stand away in front of the apartments away there, the green bucket seats there, there's some good numbers in there. And away in the members area to our right. And it's a nice, cool, refreshing day to watch. As Chatterjee bowls a full-length delivery, and Scrivens drives it through the covers for 4. That isn't going to be stopped. Wasn't perfectly timed, but I tell you what, she's playing so well. She really is. I mean, this is a staggering start from her. A square drive, not perfectly timed, but well enough. And a couple of fielders chasing that back, but wasn't going to be cut off. And it's 26 from 10 balls for the Essex skipper. It's 42 for no wicket. And this is what you call a bright start. Chatterjee, who's switched ends, is bowling again, and that's a wide outside for leg stump. That's 4 more. Now, was there any bat on that? There was. It would have been a wide anyway. Surrey have just completely lost their line, and on occasional lengths has been delivery. We were worried about the Essex no ball and wides, but I tell you what, Surrey are threatening to outdo that. Again, that was a very ordinary delivery, and it would have actually been possibly four wides or 5 wides if it had not been any contact. But Shrivens did help it on its way. She's got 30 from 11. Chatterjee bowls again, and misses, driven away and well stopped at extra cover, because that was going to be 4 more. That was going to be 4 more. It was a beautiful cover drive. It was actually really well timed. She's annoyed it didn't get through. But all credit there, because that was a stop by Callia Moore.
Yes. And
actually, she had to do well, and it was only a single. But this tremendous start from Essex. 47 for no wicket in 3 overs and 4 balls. 1-4-4-1. In fact, that's right, so far in the over. 2 balls left, 47 for no wicket, chasing 185, and Chatterjee bowls. That's a wide. This Surrey have just completely lost their line and length. That's a huge wide outside the off stump, and it's quite difficult to work out why this has happened. They're leaders of the group. By virtue of that, you can tell they're a pretty disciplined bowling lineup, but they've just lost their lines here. That was a huge wide outside the off stump. Here's Chatterjee continuing the over. That's a full length delivery, which is another wide going down the leg side. Not as wide as the previous one, but it was down the leg side. And not quite sure what's happened to Surrey here, Guy. I mean, Essex are batting very well, but there's 2 sides of this coin, and the other side is that Surrey are just not hitting their lengths and particularly lines.
Well, they keep trying to overcorrect, don't they? And it just doesn't work. And we've seen the attempted bouncer that was 3 metres wide of off stump, and then tried to recorrect and went too far down the leg side.
Chatterjee at 49 for no wicket in the 4th, bowls a much better delivery, and it's pushed up by Bosch for a quick single. That was, in the end, I think a reasonably calculated risk, but certainly Alice Monaghan was coming in there at cover and looking to try and throw down the stumps, but she didn't quite pick it up cleanly. But that is the Essex 50 in the 4th over.
I know, and then now we're seeing fielding mistakes as well.
Yeah.
And Alice Monaghan's a really good fielder, and the pressure is really telling at the moment.
Shrivens leading the way, 31 from 12, but Bosch is giving good support, 15 from 11, and taking the singles, which is surely the right thing to do. Here is Chatterjee bowling to Shrivens. That's hit away down towards the fine leg boundary. That's not going to be stopped. It's a very good sweep shot to the seamer, basically. It was a lap shot. And that was a little bit of a mini disaster for Chatterjee. 1-4-4-1, 2 wides and a single, and 17 altogether. That's 2 back-to-back very expensive overs, isn't it?
34 off the last 2. You're absolutely right.
So we're on 54 for no wicket. Now we said Essex needed a good power play. This is turning into a very, very good one. They had a very good one against Warwickshire in a game I saw earlier on. I think they got 76 in the 6 overs from memory on that one. They could possibly outdo that, but I mean, it's pretty good all told. And Surrey are switching to spin, and you might say not before time.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. And Callia Moore, who picked up a career best figures last time out of 5 for 22 at the Blaze, is in form at the moment as well. And immediately a dot ball pushed out into the covers, the pace taken off the ball, and she's bowling to Annika Bosch, who isn't hitting it to all corners like Grace Scrivens currently, but even so. And this is driven up to mid-on, so suddenly Callia Moore has returned some sanity to proceedings.
Yeah. Over so far, 9, 11, 17 and 17. I don't think this will be 17.
No, 2 dot balls so far. Oh, and that's launched, though, over mid-off, and he's going to go for 4, and out of nowhere almost, after a couple of balls of respect. And let's have a little look. Annika Bosch has just smashed that over mid-off for 4.
Trying to work out this is the first time that Bosch has opened, but it previously would have been McLeod's role, and of course Shrivens has been away from the side, but it seems to suit her, and that was a good shot.
Yeah, they've tried all sorts
combinations. Yeah,
Bryony Gilgrass, I think, opened last time.
That's right.
Well. just misses out. It's wide outside off stump, and trying to cut it away, she cuts it to the fielder. If it had been a metre either side, it would have been 4 runs, but it's another dot ball. And that's a good delivery, right up in the block hole, and trying to drive it. She ends up having to just dig it out.
There's some wear on the pitch. I'm trying to work out whether this is the same pitch as used on Wednesday, which was as flat as a road. Maybe they used the one that's a couple of strips along.
Oh, and this is smashed away, and this should be the first maximum of the match. And it is. It goes over deep mid-wicket for 6. There were 2 fielders out there as well who were interested for a bit, and what was a terrific over from Kalia Moore has suddenly cost 10 runs with the 4 and the 6 and 4 dot balls. So, well, this is some start from Essex.
Yeah.
It's the first over has been the best. There were only 9. There were only 9 from the first over.
Well, there was a point where it looked like Surrey might get very close to 200, but one way or another, they just managed to keep things under control. And it's looking on this very good surface that 184 is a good score, but if he can bat well, he'll stay in contention. And so far, Essex are batting very well. They need a further 121 at just over 8s. That's ideal to have the rate down to 8 at the end of the power play if they can have another good over here. There's a attempted sweep here from Shrivens against Harris, who's come on with her spin at the Graham Gooch end, but there's no run as it goes straight to short fine leg. So spin from both ends.
And you can again understand why.
5 saving 1 on the offside. Here's Shrivens, not quite bisecting those, and it's quite hard to, and there's 5 of them. Goes straight out to cover, so 2 dot balls. So this is the last over of the power play, 2 dot balls at the start of it. There's also 2 fielders back of the square, saving 1 on the onside. So huge spaces through square leg, which Shrivens has found here, but there is a deep mid-wicket on the boundary as the sun comes up, and there's just out, and there's just the 1 run. So dot dot 1, 65 for no wicket, 120 exactly to get, and there are now, as the 2 batters have a chat, 14 overs and 3 balls to go. So the asking rate just a touch over 8. And if you've got all wickets in hand and a good wicket, then you'd settle for that. Bosch is on strike. We've got a square leg and a short fine leg. Nobody else saving 1 on the leg side. There were 5 saving 1 on the offside. There's a long on a deep mid wicket on the boundary. Bosch goes back into her crease and works out where the gap is. That's a super shot for 4 because she saw there was the short fine and the square leg and the deep mid wicket and the long on. So where to hit that was over the 2 infielders, which is exactly what she did. Well out of their reach, a splendid 4, and it's 69 for no wicket. And this is getting close to that Warwickshire power play we mentioned.
Absolutely, and Laura Harris's figures coming into this, we'll go through it at the end of the over.
Harris bowled flatter 1 and worked away for possibly 2, going up towards deep mid wicket. It will be 2. It's a sprawling stop away in the distance, and they get back for a couple of runs. So Bosch goes 4-2, and it's 71 for no wicket with 1 ball left of a tremendous power play for Essex. I mean, this is, say, along the lines of that match we were talking about right here, when they beat Warwickshire. And this is hit. Oh, that's gone for 4. That's a lovely shot. Use of the feet. That wasn't right from Harris. She dragged it down, and Bosch spotted it, and with tremendous timing just threaded it through the offside infield. Had to find the gap, and that was the critical thing. But again, rather indicative of the way it's gone for Surrey. That one, again, it just didn't land right for Harris. It was wide outside the off stump, and it was just a question of a batter of Bosch's class getting into line and just finding the gap, which is what she did. Hit it all along the ground, and what had been a pretty good start for Harris, well, again, another expensive over. So another big power play for Essex after that one earlier in the season. And can they convert this to a victory? It would be tremendous if they could against the leaders. 110 to get at 7.86 with all wickets in hand. It's 75 for no wicket.
Yeah, and that was against Laura Harris, who has taken 4 wickets in the competition at an average of 6.5. Best bowling 3 for 16, an economy rate of 4.3. So that's full, driven on. That's a terrific stop. As that, for all the money, looked as if that was going to be 4 more, but Alice Monaghan stuck out a hand, diving to her right, and keeps Grace Scrivens down to just the 1. And
The ball striking has been terrific from this Essex pair, but that was a good piece of fielding, and Surrey need that at the moment. But now, Essex with all wickets in hand, there's lots of singles available to them, because Surrey, obviously, we're out of the power play now.
MacDonald Gay back into the attack from the Sir Alistair Cook end, and that's a good ball, actually tucks up the batter. We haven't seen that many times. Trying to flick it to leg side, can't get bat on ball on this occasion. Bosch, and well, the rarest of rare things, a dot ball.
Surrey are acutely aware they need a wicket here. They'll feel that one might bring two, but at the moment these two are doing a great job.
As MacDonald Gay in once again, right arm over the wicket, short, helped away. There are players out there, it should be fielded, and it was well played in the end, because she managed to get the ball under control on what turned out to be a hook rather than a pull shot in the end, but controlled it nicely. But they'll only get a single. Just to put things in perspective, after 6 overs, Essex 75 without loss. Surrey at the same point were 46 for 2.
Yeah.
So they're very nearly 30 runs ahead on the power play, which is remarkable. And MacDonald Gay, though, tidying things up slightly. Just a couple of singles so far. Bosch back on strike. Sorry, Grace Scrivens on strike, and she cuts it backward of square. There is a deep point there who stops the ball, but they go through for another single.
Yeah, just the odd quiet over isn't going to worry Essex too much. There's been a good over, much better line and length, but it's been a very fine performance from these two, and this is Bosch's highest score for Essex in either format so far.
Absolutely right. Well, she is now facing, and she helps this into the leg side. It's just short of deep square leg, not by much, and they go through for another single. I think it's Danny Gregory out there fielding.
And as with any high-class player as she is, it helps if she can get herself in, which is, she was very much playing second fiddle earlier on, with Scrivens going so well, but she's coming into her own now.
Full toss. Scrivens can't make the most of it and drives it out to deep cover, where Kalia Moore, it was in fact, fires the ball in, and that's in the end a pretty tidy over, just 5 singles from it. So 80 without loss at the end of the 7th, and that is by some way the tidiest over so far that Surrey have bowled.
So far we've seen Surrey make 184 for 4. They might just feel only 4 wickets lost, and they've left 10 runs out there. Bryony Smith 53 from 43 balls. Jemima Spence an excellent 69 from 41, not out. Alice Monaghan 29 from 16 at the end. But Essex didn't lose control of things, and a couple of wickets for Sophia Smell, 2 for 28 and 1 for Eva Gray, 1 for Kate Kopak. Just the one expensive over from Kate Kopak, but that's been emulated a couple of times over already from Surrey bowlers. So
Danny
Gregory more spin now, and she's going to bowl from the Graham Gooch end. She's going to bowl here to Scrivens. It's an appeal for LBW. It just takes the pad and rolls back down the pitch. So we'll start at the 8th over. The asking rate is 8, and you've got all wickets in hand. You've settled for that on a good pitch. So here is Gregory again, a twirl of the arms, bowls, a nice delivery, and attempt by Scrivens to force the ball away through the covers, but doesn't manage to time it. There are 4 saving 1 on the offside and only a short fine leg on the leg side, and then everybody else is on the boundary, deep mid wicket and long on, and deep square leg and long off. As this is a full length delivery, appeal for LBW, but that's certainly hitting Scrivens outside the line of the off stump, and it in the end it's another dot ball, but this is a good start actually from Gregory.
She hasn't taken lashings of wickets this season, but her economy rate is 7, which in these days is pretty tidy stuff.
She's bowling leg breaks, and this one Scrivens comes down the pitch too and just pushes it back. Bowler fields partially in a follow through, probably slightly annoyed because the fact it wasn't fielded cleanly allowed Scrivens to get through for the single, but this has been a pretty good over so far. Feels Surrey need a wicket, but one thing they can do is just try and put a little bit of a constraint on the free run scoring. 81 for no wicket, but 3 dots and a 1 in this over. 185 is the overall target, 104 required. This one is again a very nice piece of bowling, and I think that was the googling. It was quite a sharp delivery which Bosch went onto the back foot to and just played in the end defensively off into the covers. 3 fielders in a row, backward point, square cover and almost an extra cover. This is hit in the air but safe and into the wide open spaces for 4 to the fine leg boundary. Good execution from Bosch. She's really playing very well here. She goes into the 40s, and that one just basically hitting it against the turn but safely enough, and clearing the infielder on the leg side, and the big open spaces there back of the square on the onside. And that's what she was looking for. That's what she found. Still a decent over that from Gregory, but spoiled slightly by the 4 off the last ball. But Essex won't mind the odd over that just goes for 5 or 6. They're keeping all wickets in hand here. They're 100 away from the target. The asking rate's only 8.3. They need 100 to win, as I mentioned. Scrivens is 40 and Bosch 41. It's 85 for no wicket.
4 off that last ball was important because she really had bowled well in that over Danny Gregory, and looked desperately difficult to get away, but Bosch found a way of just getting the 5 runs off the over, just to keep them ticking over nicely. And we've got another change of bowler again. We've got Laura Harris changing ends.
Well, if you're optimistic from an Essex point of view, in terms of the table, they do actually have a game in hand over Surrey. It's probably too much to ask in terms of qualification.
And that, again, was down leg side and has absolutely been played brilliantly by Scrivens. Also terrific, I was going to say terrific fielding. Then the ball squirted away from the unfortunate fine leg and has gone for 4 off the first ball. So Scrivens re-overtakes Bosch, who had actually snuck up on the rails and had taken the lead 41 to 40. But Scrivens now moves on to 44. As the fielder just can't stop the ball dribbling over the boundary line. Harris in again, and that's outside off stump, and Scrivens tries to drive but misses the ball completely.
Was she thinking she might get a wide there, but it was outside the off stump, but it was a good delivery.
Yeah, it would have been tight. Down the leg side this time, and this will certainly be 1, and it is straight to the fielder and will only be 1. Not the greatest delivery, but she does have fielders out there, Harris, and she bowled to them.
Well, boundaries here are going to hurt Surrey because they need wickets, and they want to try and frustrate these two. Any boundary will certainly hurt the visitors here.
It's a full toss, but can only be driven by Bosch up to long on, and they go through for a single.
Yes, it's been very good from Annika Bosch. I mean, headline act when she signed, wasn't able to deliver the big scores early on, but maybe she's going to get a 50 here.
This will be another single to long off. It's the same fielder, but left and right handers, as Rhiannon MacDonald-Gay does the fielding. And another single, so tidy stuff. So 1 ball left of this over, 7 runs from it so far, and that's swept round the corner, and it's a brilliant stop. If that had passed fine leg, it would have been 4, absolutely no question, but Chatterjee did absolutely brilliantly to stop that.
Yeah, in a way, from an Essex perspective, she stopped it, but she parried it into a bit of an open space, and that allowed the second run, but she certainly saved 2, didn't she?
She certainly did, yeah.
But
9 off the over.
You see, that's the asking rate, and Essex are doing very well. It doesn't matter the odd quiet over here. Surrey need wickets, and the longer these two stay out there, then the more difficult it's going to get for Surrey, and the boundaries will come if they stay out there. The fact obviously there's slightly fewer boundaries at the moment, but that doesn't matter. They've done the hard work in the 75 runs in the power play. 94 from 9. A further, up to 185, so further 91. Start of a new over. This is driven away up towards cover, but not timed. Not surprisingly, Gregory has stayed on.
Yes.
A very good first over. Shrivens is on strike with 46, and Bosch has 44, 94 for no wicket. 4 saving 1 on the offside. So this is a nice stroke from Shrivens, using her feet but hitting it straight out to the deep mid wicket, and there's just going to be the 1 run there. So 95 for no wicket, and even 90 now required, and we're in the 10th over. Asking rate still only 8.4. Bosch 44 not out, 4 saving 1 on the offside, a short fine leg on the leg side, everybody else on the boundary. With his hit, attempt to hit the ball into the onside. There was a shout for LBW there, not out. That was a good delivery, well pitched up basically into the block hole, and just for a moment I suspect there might have been a bit of worry on the part of Annika Bosch. Leg break bowler, so we're thinking maybe it was just going to turn back in.
Missing leg, I think.
Yeah, that's a good delivery again, and driven past the bowler. She's made room for herself to play the drive. Bosch got a single out towards long off. Well, Gregory has bowled well here, but you feel Surrey need wickets, and who is going to deliver in that respect for them? We'll see. 89 required, but couple of tighter overs being sent down. The asking rate 8.5. This is Shrivens backing away and playing into the covers, and she could be run out, and she is, and that is a real giveaway from Grace Shrivens' point of view. She was keen to try and just get a few more runs on that over. She's very, very annoyed with herself. You could tell from her body language as she sort of pushes the bat up towards her helmet. And what she did there was she was trying to force the ball away through the covers. She set up for a run that wasn't there. Quite rightly, there was no thought from Bosch of trying to get down to the striker's end, and she was just out of her ground as the throw came back to the keeper, and that is a soft ending for a very, very good innings from the Essex skipper, who batted extremely well, in fact more or less getting the runs that she got yesterday in Taunton. But disappointment, and Surrey needed a wicket. They've got one. They'll be hoping that one brings 2 or 3, but Grace Shrivens, that was a fine knock. But credit to Gregory, who for the first time really in the innings was bowling and creating pressure by keeping it very tight, and in the end produced the mistake, which, as I say, was basically looking for a run that simply wasn't there.
Yeah, no, it was so frustrating, isn't it? It was her call, but Bosch was absolutely right not to go. It was straight to the fielder. There was never a run. But to have got yourself in such a good position, and yes, this was 1 over where the bowler who's proved hardest to get away was proving hard to get away, and just play it out and keep going.
She's only got 4 overs, of course.
Exactly.
And the other 1 or 2 of the others are struggling to land it. So Jodie Grucock, who's been in good touch, how's she going to get on here? 171 runs in the competition as she drives crisply. That's a good start, crisply away out towards the mid wicket. Looks for the second run, but after what's just happened, they decide with a few bit of acknowledgement with the hands. No, not going to go for that, and we'll stick with the 1. Well bowled, Yanni Gregory. It's been a good start from her, and in fact she's now sent down a couple of overs for 8 runs, I think. So that's very good indeed. Grucock 1
for 7.
Bosch,
was there 1 off the last ball?
I think it was 1 off the last ball.
Was.
So 2 overs for 8.
Right,
Grucock 1, Bosch 45, 97 for 1, and a further 88 required. 9 wickets in hand. The asking rate is pushed up a little bit, but still it's not going to unduly worry Essex. Don't want to lose too many more wickets, particularly, basically a wicket that was an element of batter error rather than anything particularly special from the bowler.
Yes, no, that was a deeply frustrating way for Grace Shrivens to get out. So it will be Jodie Grucock, also returning from England A duty, who will be facing Rhianna McDonald-Gay, bowling right arm round the wicket to the left-handed Grucock, and it's defended straight back to the bowler, bowling from the Sir Alistair Cook end round the wicket to the lefty. And just a feeling that brakes have been applied a little at the moment. It's still a very good position, 97 for 1 after 10 overs, compared to 89 for 2, but from being nearly 30 runs ahead after the power play to just being 8 runs ahead after 10 overs.
Yeah, they've scored, what, 22 off the last 26 balls, 75 in the power play. So Surrey have really applied a brake. And they'll be hoping that that pressure creates more mistakes, more wickets.
Second dot ball, but now Donald Gay in again, and that's nicely played by Grewcock. Has she found the gap? No, there is a fielder down there, but there should be 2, and they take 2. Decent stop as well, but Grewcock, after having a look at proceedings for a couple of deliveries, decided that one had to go. Various pointing by Brian E. Smith, the skipper, and the bowler as to where they feel fielders should be. All happy now. This is again heaved away into the leg side, but there's a fielder out there. It'll only be 1 this time. But that does bring up the 100 for Essex in the 11th over. An over ahead of where Surrey brought up their 100, so still just ahead of the game, but need to keep going, keep the pressure on.
Yeah, Surrey had accelerated actually, hadn't they? Whereas Essex started fast and just slowed down a little bit.
Bosch, though, who's played superbly so far, 29 balls for her 40 odd, and it's a very short delivery, but the umpire's happy that it's the 1 for the over, and signalled as such by Julia Jarvis from behind the stumps, and it'll be another dot ball, so just 3 runs off this over from Rhiannon McDonald-Gay. Slower ball, it's a clever slower ball too.
It's interesting, Surrey has just in the last few overs really sort of hit their straps, and after a very loose start with the ball, and just having a look and just seeing what a random bookmaker was offering on this game. They've got Essex only slight favourites, and that's basically saying we're a bit worried that Essex can see this out.
Yeah.
And it's...
You see why.
Yeah. But it's a question for Essex just to keeping their head. The couple of quiet overs doesn't particularly matter. It's 85 off 55 balls with 9 wickets in hand. 54 balls. So it's still a pretty good permutation. We don't want the asking rate to drift up too much.
Because it's over 9 now, isn't it?
Yeah. And Gregory is going to continue after 2 overs for 8. She's going to bowl to Grewcock on 4, and Grewcock will drive that one away for probably just the 1 to deep mid wicket. It was almost one of those situations where it was a 1.5, and they decided we can't have another run out here, so just a single. But Gregory with her leg breaks has bowled really well, and in fact it sort of inspired the others to bowl a bit better, you feel, at the other end.
Yes, also Surrey were turned an awful lot of those 1.5s into 2s, particularly when Jemima Spence was out there.
101 for 1, so 84 from 53 as Gregory bowls, and that's just run down into the offside out towards backward point, and there's no run, so Bosch stays on 45. But a real slowdown here with Surrey bowling a lot better, creating pressure. This is a very loose delivery, and actually that's really well executed from Bosch, because I was anxious for a moment she was going to get out in a very soft fashion to what was a looping full toss, and just for a moment I thought she might hit it straight to a fielder, but she didn't. All credit to her, she actually got underneath it and hit it over short third and away to the boundary, a much needed boundary for Essex to a very loose ball, and it's with reverse hands, well played that. 49 to her from 33, 105 for 1.
Yeah, no, fabulous shot. So inventive.
Gregory bowls again. That's a much flatter one, and is hit away for 4 more, and that's the first Essex 50 for Anika Bosch. And just when Essex needed a bit of acceleration because they were getting a little bit stuck, the overseas player has really just released the shackles a little bit with a audacious 4, and then to a flatter delivery, a nice punch shot through the offside for 4. She goes to 53 from 34. It's 109 for 1. And that should just be a slight pressure release for Essex. It's going to make it easier for Jodie Grewcock as well.
Yeah, 7 4s and a 6 in that innings. Sorry, 8 4s and a 6 in that innings.
So here's Gregory again. Bowls a full-length delivery, and Bosch will just tuck it away into the onside with no power, thinking, oh, it could be a second here, but there isn't, because it was anticipated by the Surrey outfielders deep mid wicket gets in, but it's still turned out to be by far the best over Essex have had against Gregory to date. 10 have come from it, with 1 ball still to come, so they're up with the asking rate for the over. Just had a pair of overs that went for 3 apiece. Overs 10 and 11, and this is going to be better for Essex. This is a pull drive away out towards deep mid wicket. It's going to be just the 1 run out to Alice Monaghan, but that's better. That's just relieved a bit of the pressure, and that should just make it a little bit easier for Essex. 111 for 1. They need 74 to win, and it's 8 fours and a 6, wasn't it? Therefore,
it was.
Yeah, 74 from 48. And that asking rate just been pushed back down a little bit, which is, it's hovering around 9s, but it's just been dragged back a little bit in the Essex favour.
Yes, that was a crucial over, and well played Annika Bosch to wrench back some of the initiative. Seemed to be slipping away a little bit. Well, Kalia Moore is in again. She bowled a very good over earlier, but was smashed for a 4 and a 6 by Bosch in 2 of the 6 deliveries, 4 dots. But interesting to see how she'll cope now, and Grucock plays that very nicely up to long on, and they trot through for an easy single.
Yes, Grucock happy to give a strike to Bosch. You feel that Surrey probably know they've got to get Bosch out here, and they'll be trying to come up with a plan.
Well, she's got 100 coming into this match. Tanny Grucock 171 runs at just under 43. And that's a well bowled, and there's a half-hearted LBW shout, but I think it was missing leg. It's more the excitement that Bosch had actually missed the ball, I think. As she sets herself again over Jodie Grucock's high score of the season, 57 against Surrey, and this has gone miles up in the air. Has it carried? It has not carried to the boundary, but it's clear of the 2 bowlers, and they've only taken 1. There were always 2 on them.
Yeah, it's strange that, because the 2 fielders converging on the boundary towards long on is always going to be 2, so I'm not quite sure why they didn't take 2 there.
Yeah, maybe they thought it was going for 4, and then it was.
It bounced very nicely into the hands of the fielder.
But slightly sloppy cricket.
Shatley.
Yes, absolutely, but slightly sloppy cricket in that they didn't take the first run fast enough.
Yeah.
Round the wicket. Oh, and Grucock tries the reverse sweep to the spinner and misses it, and it thuds into a pad.
Yes, the worst thing would have been if Grucock had got out there on the LBW going for the reverse sweep when she shouldn't have been on strike.
Yes, quite. Again, Grucock tries to come down the wicket, but in the end has to just dig the ball out, and this is turning out to be a good over. Just the 2 singles from it so far. This is the final ball. Short, smashed away by Grucock, and it just dropped short of the fielder, or it was dropped. It was desperately close. She pulled it out to deep mid-wicket, and the fielder just couldn't cling on to it. I think it might have just fallen just in front of her.
First thought was that got to Phoebe Franklin on the full. We'll see.
It's hard to see. It really is hard to see.
Got hands to it, but couldn't hang on.
Did they just take the 1 in the end? I think they just took the 1. So just the 3 runs from the over.
Well, that's good. That was a good over. And Surrey are bowling a lot better now, but Essex still got 9 wickets in hand. They'd have settled for this at the start of their innings, 114 for 1. The asking rate is up to 10.
Yeah, it's interesting. Exactly the same point. Surrey were 113 for 2, so there's only 1 run in it now.
81 from 71 from 42 balls.
So 10 and over.
Yeah. So it is going to be Chatterjee. 2 expensive overs so far. This is a hit in the air, not far short of deep mid wicket, but it's just going to be the 1. But it does allow Bosch to get back onto strike. Grucock, mainly dealing in singles at the moment, has gone to 9, 115 for 1, 70 required in 40 1 balls. For Essex, it's probably not going to make a difference in terms of qualification, but it'd be a big morale booster after a series of defeats in
Wouldn't it,
both formats. 4-7-1 on the offside, only the short fine leg on the leg side, everybody else on the boundary, long on, deep mid wicket, deep square leg, deep cover. Here's Chatterjee bowling a full toss, and that's swept away, goes past short fine leg for 4. That won't be stopped. That's, again, not the best of delivery. She has occasionally been rather loose here today, Chatterjee, and that was a bit of a full length one on leg stump and swept away and beating short fine and away for 4, and Bosch goes to 59.
Yes, one of those that might have been a wide if she'd left it, but she knew that the field at fine leg was pretty wide, so if she could get it fine, it was 4, and that's exactly what she did.
66 from 40, 119 for 1. Sun coming out, little bit more blue sky around, still predominantly cloudy. Chatterjee bowls again, another full toss and another sweep shot. There is a fielder back there on the deep backward square leg boundary, and there's just the 1 run. So it's 120.
Yeah, she's trying to bowl that full-length delivery, isn't she, Chatterjee? And
yeah.
just overdoing it on occasion.
65 from 39. Boundary and over essential for Essex, but 9 wickets in hand, which is a terrific position.
Well, almost 2 and over, isn't it? Now 10 runs required every over.
Chatterjee bowls again. It's a flatter one. It's a hit past short fine leg. That's going to go down to the boundary as well. And 2 boundaries in the over. Very, very useful. 1's an absolute essential minimum, but 2 means they're going to keep up with the rate. And Grucock there just latching onto that. Again, it wasn't particularly the best ball that Chatterjee would have wanted. It was dragged down a little bit outside the leg stump, and she's got hold of it. 2 boundaries in the over, 124 for 1, 61 from 38.
Yeah, it's not good bowling at the moment from Chatterjee. She's dragged 3 of the deliveries she's bowled have been down the leg side. 2 have gone for 4.
Yeah, she's either short or full, isn't she, at the moment? 124 for 1 as she comes in again. That's a better delivery, but it's hit in the air. It's going to be safe, and it bisects 2 boundary fielders for 4. So 3 boundaries in the over for Essex. They've beaten the asking rate, and that's come at a very good time. There have been some tight overs here from Surrey, particularly Gregory, but any over like this, in a situation where you've got 9 wickets in hand, it just should settle the home dressing room down. 128 for 1, 57 from 37. 3 boundaries in the over. Good pick-up shot that from Grucock for 4, bisecting with 2 boundary fielders on the leg side. And here she hits this down the ground, and that's going to be 4 more. And I suspect that Chatterjee won't bowl her last over. It's not been her day. 4 boundaries in the over. That's a huge over at this situation in the game. Surrey were probably thinking their know-how, just put a bit of pressure on Essex, a couple of wickets will go down, but then you have 4 boundaries and an over that goes for 18, and it's not game over for Surrey, but they've got an awful lot to do from here. 132 for 1, the asking rate back below 9s, and Bosch 60, and Grucock, who really came into her own in that over, 21.
That's a huge, huge over, and well, you're just surprised with a bowler, Priyana Chatterjee, with her experience, her record, and she has gone for 44 in her 3 overs so far, and that has been brutal as far as Surrey are concerned. Good news though as far as Essex are concerned, because they're right back on track after that over. And do we have a change of
Davidson?
Yes, we do. Coming in for her
Richards.
first over, Alice Davidson Richards. And she's bowled 2.5 overs so far in this competition. Oh, a brilliant reverse. Brilliant reverse. And that's gone for 4. Nothing that the fielder at third could do about that. I always get confused on the reverse because the third becomes the fine leg, but it was over them and it was 4 runs. But yeah, it's interesting that they've thrown her into the attack, Alice Davidson Richards, because she. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong figures. She's bowled well this year. 3 wickets at 29. And that is driven up to mid-off, and it won't be a run. 2 for 23 against Yorkshire.
You felt chasing this target, although it's a very good wicket, against leaders Surrey, the one thing Essex really needed today, they had some big names coming back, but the one thing they needed perhaps above everything else was for Annika Bosch to show what she could do, and that's exactly what's happened.
No, you're absolutely right, Nick. As Davidson Richards' right arm over the wicket, and that's smashed back over the head. That should be 4 more. It is. It's launched over long off. What a shot. That race to the boundary.
There's a decent crowd in here, and they're enjoying this, and I hope it's transmitting through to the Essex players out there and those in the dressing room, because this has been a terrific performance. They've just got to finish it off now.
Yeah, 4.4.
Starting to run out of options.
Yes, apart from Danny Gregory, who really has looked difficult to get away. In again, and that's very wide.
It is outside the off stump technically, reversed hands.
Yes, I can see why the umpire didn't give it, and she's been consistent throughout, Julia Jarvis. If she feels the batter is forcing the bowler into bowling it either wide outside off stump or on or around leg stump, she hasn't gone for the obvious wide. She said, no, you've got yourself in that position, batter, sort yourself out. And I think she's right. There's a long chat now going on between skipper Bryony Smith and Alice Davidson Richards.
45 from 33.
Yes. Slower ball, and it's launched away into the offside. This could be 4 more. It is 4 more. What a great shot by Annika Bosch again. Wasn't that bad a ball?
Starting to think how well Sophia Smell particularly bowled earlier on, because this is a pretty flat wicket.
Yes.
And Surrey, I reckon, with having just lost 4 wickets, we'll be thinking they've left 10 to 15 runs out there, because this is, Chelmsford can be flat. It was on Wednesday night, and I need to check whether it's the same wicket, but it's playing the same way, whatever.
Yes, Sophia Smalley took 2 for 28, and Sophie Munro didn't take a wicket, but she only conceded 29 from her 4 overs as well, and those two really did apply some necessary breaks on occasion. So this over's gone for 12 so far, and that's fetched into the leg side, bounces in front of deep square, and they'll just go through for a single, but 13 off the over so far, and that will be the end of the over. I've missed a ball, I think, as well. So yeah, 144 for 1 at the end. It was a single off the last ball of the over. 144 for 1, so 12 off that over in the end.
So it means 40 are needed off 30 balls. So exactly 5 overs, and Essex, as I say, given their position in the group, it looks as though it's beyond their reach to break into that top 4. But it'd be a real outside chance. But it'd be a big morale-boosting win if they can get it. So Chatterjee comes off, and Moore is on at the old Hayes close end, the Graham Gooch end now, and that is swept for a single by Bosch to go to 74. Grucock is 21. This is a good stand off the back of the opening partnership.
And that's a 50 partnership.
And it is worth exactly 50, 146 for 1. And it means that 39 are required from 29.
Now, this has been a terrific re-acceleration. You just feared for a moment that the momentum was going out of Essex's innings, but these last 2 or 3 overs, terrific stuff.
So, Cullier Moore is going to bowl a flatter one, and it's hit away by Grucock into a gap on the onside. Well stopped at long on, actually, because that's probably saved maybe an extra run, but they've got back for 2. And a nice piece of work out there, but still 2 runs, and good placement from Grucock, hitting it between long on and deep mid wicket. Asking rate nicely under control, 37 from 28. This is the reverse. Oh, reversed hands are almost too close to the off stump for comfort, but got away with it.
She's tried it a couple of times now, hasn't she? And she hasn't quite got it.
Yeah, dot ball. So it's 37 from 27 required, and this is hit away nicely. That's a nice stroke through, straight extra cover. It will be stopped by long off running round, but it's a second 2 in the over for Jodie Grucock. That was a nice piece of placement, and that's 150 up, so 35 required from 26. Any boundaries now are really going to hurt Surrey, who desperately need wickets. 4 saving 1 on the offside, just a short fine leg on the leg side. Here's Moore again, bowls. It's a reverse hands again, straight to backward point. So mixed success here for Grewcock. When she's actually played the more conventional shots, she's done better in this over.
That's right. She did hit that one at least.
Yeah. 25 not out, 150 for 1. It's 35 off 25. Oh, that's a full toss, and it's hit away out towards deep backward square leg for 4. And it's a no ball. And that is a mini disaster for Surrey in this situation. It was a no ball. It was, round about shoulder height, but she's put it away for 4, Grewcock, and now she's got a free hit, and there are 30 required still from 25 balls.
Yeah, it was definitely above waist height. The bowler looked disappointed that the decision was given, but just watching it again, it definitely was, and we had we saw it was set earlier in the Essex innings when the same thing happened.
This is the free hit at the end of the over. It's a flat delivery. It's driven away. It's actually stopped at cover. So Grewcock couldn't do anything with it. But I think she'll have settled for the result from the previous delivery. And she's gone to 29 from 21. Bosch 74 from 46. 155 for 1. 30 from 4 overs. So 7.5. That's with 9 wickets in hand. Surrey are going to have to produce minor miracles to get out of this. It has been a superb top-order batting performance from Essex, and I think Surrey, as I say, just at the moment might be thinking they've left 10 or 15 runs out there.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. We didn't think so at the time. We thought 180 plus would be a really, really good total, but it's looking more and more like a 200 wicket, isn't it? But back into the attack comes Laura Harris. She's gone for 20 in her 2 overs so far. Bosch has been fantastic. She still hasn't faced 50 deliveries, and she's 74 not out. And Harris now bowling from the Sir Alistair Cook end, and that's quicker and flatter, and is just bunted up to mid-on, long on, and they trot through for an easy single.
Well, Essex, if they can win this, will go to 17 points. And we'll have to just have a look and see how the Blaze in particular are getting on. They're 8 points ahead of them, having played a game, same number of games.
Right. I think this is more for pride than anything else as far as Essex is concerned.
Just having a little look, just to see.
But do, please, if there's a way through.
Durham need 31 in 4 overs with 8 wickets in hand to beat the Blaze. Now Durham are second and the Blaze are fourth, so they could move to within 8 points of fourth place, the Blaze.
Another single. And yet another single. This is good bowling, though, at the moment from Harris, who is just taking the pace off the ball, but pitching it up and making the batters do all the work. And at the moment, all they can do is convert the deliveries into singles. 3 of them so far at the start of the over. Nick keeping an eye on events elsewhere to see whether Essex can keep alive in this competition. That's a very, very wide full toss. They've run a bye on it. They very nearly saw a stumping and the end of Danny Grewcock. Everything was going on there. It was really wide. Grewcock tried to get it. She was out of a crease. The wicketkeeper then missed with the throw to try and run her out. That meant they could trot through for a bye, all that off a wide. And there is a reverse this time from Bosch, and she misses out. And who was it? It was Jemima Spence earlier, I don't think she missed a single reverse sweep for Surrey. And this is another reverse, but it's straight to the fielder, but they can trot through for a single. She didn't time it, Bosch particularly, and it went straight to the short third fielder.
Just doesn't want to get out playing that shot, because it would be a soft ending to a great innings. But obviously, it's rather playing the same shot all the time against Harris at the moment.
So 6, and there's another reverse, this time to the left-hander, and it goes straight into the wicket-keeper's gloves. We've had 6 off the over. I think that is the over. So they tried every reverse going there, but it didn't really work.
Well, just from an Essex perspective there, they played the shot, basically the same shot off every ball, and I just wonder whether just pushing the ball for singles with the asking rate as it is, because that's no good for Surrey. Singles for Essex are absolutely fine at the moment, and it's still a reasonable over. I think 5 came off it, 6 came off it, so 24 from 18. 161 for 1. Now this is Gregory's last over, which may have been a case for her bowling it a bit earlier, because she's been probably the pick of the bowlers, although actually
definitely.
her last over was a bit more expensive, but the first two went for 8.
Yeah, so she's only gone for 19 off of 3 overs, which in the general scheme of things in this match.
So here we go with 24 from 18 and Bosch on 77 on the strike at 161 for 1, and this is a flatter one which is pulled away for a single out towards deep mid wicket, which is basically all Essex need, with the occasional boundary thrown in. I wonder if they get whether the reverse sweep will be persisted with or just play the ball into the gaps, and if they get one that's there for the shot, then obviously they can try and knock it over the short third or something like that, but we shall see. 162 for 1, 23 from 17.
Yes, Bosch missed out a little on that last one.
Yeah, Grewcock on strike. See, she goes on a sweep and sends it, looks to send it away into the onside, but in fact it just rolls away back down the pitch. So a little bit of pressure being applied, but a boundary or two would rest things very much back towards Essex. 23 off 16. And Gregory get bowling again with her leg breaks, and here's a nice looking drive that from Grewcock. It won't be 4, but just playing conventional cricket, which actually has been the stronger suit for her in the innings. That was a nice drive down the ground just to rotate the strike. It's going to be a huge ask for Surrey to defend this, but certainly Gregory has done a very good job. 23 from 15 is the ask. 22 from 15 now. Here's Gregory again. Bowls a flat one, and this is pulled by Bosch away, not timed, goes out towards deep square leg, and they're going to have to settle for the single.
Again,
She'll be annoyed because she missed out on that. That was a flat one. But nothing to be particularly worried about at this stage, because it's still very much in Essex's favour, but they could do with a boundary off one of his last 2 balls. 21 from 14. A bit of pressure being applied by Gregory here. 21 from 14.
As she has throughout, she's bowled really well.
So here is Gregory again, bowls to Grewcock, who drives nicely down the ground. It's going up towards long. I think it is going to be stopped though, and again it's just the one. So this has been a good over. 20 required from 13, and Surrey will just feel a wicket or two might just create a bit of panic and a few dot balls, but it has been a very good spell and a very good final over from Gregory. It's just gone for 5 so far.
Can't have a feeling that there was the possibility of 2 there as well.
Yeah. 20 required off 13. It's Bosch on strike. And Gregory will bowl to her, and she goes on the reverse and gets it away. And that will go for 4. They've been trying that for about 20 minutes with no success at all. But Bosch got the ball that was right for the shot and hit it cleanly over the infield for 4 runs, and that will, if there was a little bit of concern just building up in the Essex dressing room, that I think should calm things down again. 16 required from 2 overs with 9 wickets in hand. 169 for 1. Well bowled, Danny Gregory. But surely Essex are going to get this win, which the batting has thoroughly merited.
Yeah, that 4 overs for 27, given what's going on everywhere else in this match, that's really tidy stuff. That's the most economic 4 overs we've seen. She just goes a run under Sophia Smales 2 for 28. And coming into the attack, back into the attack, Rhiannon MacDonald-Gay, who after a tough start, and this is launched into the deep on the leg side, 1 bounce into the hands of deep mid-wicket, and it'll only be a single to Grewcock. She moves on to 32 from 26 deliveries. 33 from 27, and now Bosch on 83.
15 from 11.
That is the target. That's thumped up to long on. It'll only be 1 though, because it's straight to Alice Davidson-Richards.
Bosch just throwing her head back a little bit. Obviously, the sooner they can get the boundary in the over, the better. We will need 1, but still in a very, very good position. 14 from 10.
Bustling in again McDonald again. That's a really nice straight drive. This could go all the way. It does go all the way. What a shot that is from Grucock. The two fielders were out there. There was a long on and long off, and she's driven it so straight and so powerfully that the bowler couldn't stop it. And then once it got past her, 4 runs all the way.
So you've got the 3 players that played for England A yesterday have all contributed well today, and of course Bosch has played a major innings, so that adds up for the Essex women's side, and it's what's made a difference today.
Absolutely right.
So far.
So far. And that's a slower ball down the leg side, but I think that'll be 4. It's absolutely nailed by Jodie Grucock. Slightly dragged down, trying to take the pace off, and Grucock was on it so quickly and smashed it to mid-wicket. And there was a fielder who only had to go about 8 or 9 yards, but was never going to make it.
Really, the crowd has built up most impressively during the game.
Yes.
Maybe they don't realise they've got an hour and 3/4 off, but I mean, it has built up very well.
Well, this is turning out to be a terrific over for Essex. Slower ball, and this is launched down the ground, and will be 4 more. So Essex really closing in on victory now. 14 off this over.
Just
the
the
score
2 needed.
183.
2 needed. 3 fours in a row.
So that is seriously nerve-settling batting by Grucock at the moment. 3 successive 4s. 2 runs required for what would be a marvellous Essex victory. Full, coaxed away. They'll only have the 1 just. And they asked for the run out, but they were certainly home. And the scores are level then after the end of that 19th over. So it's easy. 1 run is required off the final over for Essex to win this one.
So Surrey are going to stay on 28 points at the top. Well, they may no longer be top because Hampshire have won, so they will lose their place at the top of the table. Hampshire have won big time today, very easily, I think, against Lancashire. So they've lost their place at the top of the table, and it could well be that Durham overtake them as well. So all told, not a great day for the Surrey women, but Essex have got to get this 1 run just to see the game out.
And you do feel the England A, while it's great for the 3 players involved, what that's cost Essex in this.
Yeah, it's a big. I think we've got a World Cup going on, and obviously a number of players.
And I know
Surrey
have got 7 players missing, and including crikey. You look at the England players they've got missing. They would also feel they had a better chance of qualifying.
And Durham are going to beat the Blaze, and this is going to be the winning run. This is hit away off Harris, away to deep square leg by Grucock, and that will take Essex to 185 for 1. They have beaten Surrey by 9 wickets with 5 balls to spare. A quite brilliant batting performance by the top 3. Annika Bosch has come into her own today. 84 she has delivered, 84 from 54 balls. And Jodie Grucock getting the 1 remaining run, 47 she finished at the end. And add to that a very fine innings from Grace Shrivens, and it was actually Grace's own mistake that got her out, because the Surrey bowlers weren't going to do that today. She rather gave her wicket away with a soft run out, so I'm afraid a big naught in the wickets column as far as the Surrey bowlers are concerned. And maybe they've got a bit of thinking to do, maybe just a bad day at the office, but I think we have to say that Essex did pretty well in the end to keep them down to 184, given the fact that Surrey only lost 4 wickets. But Essex have lost 3 fewer. They've won this match by 9 wickets, and they go up to 17 points. And that's going to be a big morale boost for the dressing room. And as I say, those players coming back from the England A game, plus the big contribution from Annika Bosch, 84 from 54, has made a difference.
Certainly has. You have to mention a couple of the Surrey players as well for their contributions. Jemima Spencer's 69 from 41, 69 not out. It's a half century from Bryony Smith as well, and good hitting at the end from Alice Monaghan, and well bowled Danny Gregory. But Essex deserved to win this. They kept going when things were difficult with the ball. Sophia Smale and Sophie Munro's figures stand out there, but the batting was just sensational, and to beat a Surrey side who were so loaded with talent, and to chase down 185, Nick, that is just splendid stuff as far as Essex is concerned.
Yeah, they took advantage of some very loose bowling from Surrey in the power play. They emulated that power play they had against Warwickshire earlier in the season, and again they kicked on to victory, and a very big victory as well. And that's probably not going to be enough to get close to qualification. They're still 8 points off the top 4, but at least that is going to give some encouragement for the remaining games in the competition, which is starting to move towards its closing stages. But certainly they'll be very, very pleased with that. I mean, there are only 3 games left, and there's 8 points to make. It's very, very unlikely, but at least it's a win, and there haven't been too many of those of late for the Essex women, and this has been a very, very good performance. So that's it from us for this game between Essex and Surrey. The Women's World Cup final starts at 3:30, but if you're okay to join us at 5 to 4, we will have the men's match between Essex and Middlesex, with the Essex men looking to push further towards qualification from the South Group. So join us then. The news here, though, from Chelmsford: a fantastic victory for Essex by 9 wickets with 5 balls to spare.